It is August 21st, 2025. And not only are the clouds fake, not only are the birds fake, but also the jellyfish are fake. And we also have cockroach spies roaming the earth, everybody. And on top of all that, should there be a robot holocaust? This is Inverted World Live. Welcome back, everybody. This is Inverted World Live, and I'm your host, Shane Cashman. We are glad you're here to round out the week. This is our last episode of the week, and we have a good one lined up. We are stoked you're here. A lot of things to talk about. Of course, this is a call-in show. In about 40 or so minutes, we will open up those phone lines and love to hear from you. If you've had a strange story you just can't explain, you know those kinds of stories. Have you seen a ghost? Have you been abducted by the military? Have you seen the gray aliens? Did you once hit a Sasquatch with an SUV in California? You've heard it if you've listened to this show. And if you've got some story you want to tell us, we'd love to hear it. But also if you have some thoughts on anything we've talked about on the show, give us a call. The link will be pinned in the chat on both Rumble and YouTube. It's audio only, so no one will see you, but we will hear your disembodied voice tell us a spooky story. I'm joined by Brandon.
What's up, Shane? What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Thursday night, last show of the week. It's going to be a good one. Let's get weird.
This week flew by, and I am very excited for tonight because we have a guest in this very room. He is the author of Dark Eon, and he is the occasional host of the very great War Room podcast show. You might know Steve Bannon, and our guest here has been on this show quite a few times. I think he has been on the show more than any other guest, honestly. One of my favorite writers, one of my favorite thinkers, and that is the one and only Joe Allen. What's up, Joe?
Shane Cashman, you're too kind. You really are.
Hey, I mean it, man. I think you are tracking what I think is the most important stuff going on in the world.
It's very good to be here with your clanker friend, too.
Yeah, you want? Yeah, maybe they can't see him in there. Let's see. So this is Joe's slave. He doesn't like robots, but he did bring a robot with him. No, this robot's been with us for quite some time now. Does he have what's his name again?
That's Herbie.
Herbie
Clank Clank. He's not very graceful.
No, he doesn't have any legs.
He's a good little guy. He doesn't have the kind of femininity that I prefer in a robot, but whatever. He's mean looking. He can scare off the burglars.
Would you allow a robot in your house?
Hell no.
Not for nothing. If they're like, what about a Roomba?
No.
What about something to fold your laundry?
Never.
AI girlfriend?
I don't even use a dishwasher.
Not even a dishwasher?
Literally.
Really?
I do have a garbage disposal.
Ooh, that's a little too close to a robot.
I keep it around in case I need to torture people. Get secrets out of them. Kind of like with the blender and Goonies with Chunk and with the Savellis. What the fuck their name was? Yeah,
it's like waterboarding, but with dish soap.
I can't say. Can I say swear words?
You can.
Can I say ethnic slurs?
Go for it.
Like
Let's hear
tin
it.
skin. Can I call this little guy a tin skin?
Yes,
or
you can.
a wire back?
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one. They really don't like that. He might shoot you.
Clanker hard R.
Chrome dome.
This is a perfect lead into my first question that I had for you today. When did you become racist against robots?
Very early on, as a teenager. I think that although I'm accepting of and love all of humanity, like every last person, no intolerance whatsoever for any human being, as long as they don't come near me. But robots, no, man. I mean, I go visit robots. I interviewed a few robots. I went to Switzerland and interviewed a lot of robots.
Yeah, I want to get to that because you've done a ton of traveling and you are on the front lines of the robot war. That if you listen to this show, we're in a war against the robots. But what was it that happened to you when you were a kid? Like, why were you radicalized against robots? Was it short circuit? Was it Johnny Five?
I could tell you the short version, or I could tell you the long version. The short version is that I tore open my third eye with a little bit of that Sandoz special. I don't know if it was a Rainbow Family special. And that produced a profound insight that has never left me, but also more mundane things. my grandfather probably put it in me when I was really young. He didn't really take the idea, the fundamentalist idea that the TV is the one-eyed demon, the Cyclops, but he did think that it was a good metaphor for what was happening, and he always pointed at the television and said it's the biggest wasteland on the face of the planet.
That's great.
And there were a number of other things too. A big thing was reading Ted Kaczynski's Industrial Society and Its Future.
He was a prophet. I mean, I'm not so much into the violence, but I do understand what he saw. He was a professor, right? And he was in the universities. He saw decades ago what people are just now coming to terms with, of how the ideological rot is destroying those institutions. I mean, he saw all that, and he saw the issues with the advancements in technology. It's wild. So you read that at a young age? Is that your bedtime stories?
So I dropped out of high school when I was very young and got a GED, but then I either had to get a real job or go to college. So I went to college to waste some time and money, mostly government money, but also my grandmother's money too.
Shout out to Grandma.
Sorry, Mama. I'm sure that she got enough amusement. But I spent a lot of time in the writing lab on the internet when I was a kid because we didn't have it at home really. And read the Unabomber Manifesto. I can still remember like the HTML webpage with the kind of black background, maybe yellow or green text or something unseemly.
Yeah.
Like that. But yeah, the Unabomber, so the Industrial Society and Its Future does, I think, exhaust many of the options or possibilities of how technological society evolves. There are brighter futures he probably could have included, but he's the Unabomber, so he wouldn't do that. But definitely the logic of power and especially human disempowerment, that a technological society doesn't allow human beings to express their innate, vigorous instincts, really their tribal instincts. Kaczynski called it the power principle.
Right.
And it didn't necessarily mean abuse, but to exert one's will, to exert one's power is thwarted.
Yeah, and
society.
It's completely, I think, all this stuff has robbed us. I mean, people will say, well, look at all the luxury we have today. You know, we can do this right now.
Yeah.
This is great. And we can have people out there listening, and it's amazing. They can call in. But I feel like there are consequences that people aren't taking into account on how this is going to mutilate humanity. You know, do you think we're at that point now? We're not, as humans overall, not acknowledging it, or is it not as bad yet, and it's going to get way worse?
You know, I'm not one of the apocalyptic doomers. I think that you should take those ideas seriously. Ideas of intelligence explosions and sudden catastrophic effects of uncontrollable AI. I think it's a very low probability, but sort of like with a nuclear reactor melting down, it's the sort of thing you probably want to at least consider. But no, I think that what some call gradual disempowerment is a more likely outcome. It's already happening.
Yeah.
But they put the center of gravity on the robots, on the machines, right? Even in that scenario, it's the machines themselves, the momentum of all of these automated systems and humans dependent on them that will, over the course of time, see human beings sort of being first disempowered and then phased out as the machines slowly take over. I think it's more a matter of the people who produce the machines deploying them on us. I think that's the best way to think about it.
Because they have no ethics?
They have ethics. They just aren't the ethics that I would want them to have.
Ethics for them.
They have principles, for sure. They're just not principles that I share.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, and I think a lot of these people, though, like a lot of the AI people in Silicon Valley, the ones that are the most known, like an Altman or a Musk, they do make these comparisons with AI to Skynet. Like Musk has literally said it could be Skynet. So is that an exaggeration, you think, or do you think they actually see that coming down the road?
I don't pretend to know what they really think.
It's hard to know what lizards think.
Right. It's very similar to the lizard, in fact, and some would say perhaps quite literally.
Like me.
Lizard.
Yep. Like this guy right here. Because I don't think they are very human.
They don't act very human. Altman especially. The weirdest thing is Musk is among the most relatable, and for him to be considered relatable at all shows you kind of what the
What do you
general
mean by
atmosphere is.
relatable?
Well, he has a decent sense of humor. He I think his taste in women is pretty all right. He
All 100 of them?
not
that we know of?
not the new taste that he has for the goon bots. The goon bots, perhaps.
I mean,
but
it's disgusting.
Is this guy really, perving on goon bots, or is this just a sales pitch? I mean, I don't know. He's a salesman. I see Musk as a car salesman, which he is.
Yeah, a used car salesman.
Yeah.
I don't think he's a very good sales. I think he used to be a much better salesman. But I think the wiring has gone wrong.
Ketamine?
The ketamine probably has a problem in the brain. But posting all the hentai dancing, like today, no matter how many times I've scrolled past it, it keeps popping back. It's like he wants me to see it.
He does.
And all I see is, I think it's happening
wants
because...
you to want to see it too.
And he wants me to build my own. He wants you to have your own. That's your future wife. I think he wants that. And we talked on this show this week about artificial wombs. He's been a proponent of artificial wombs. He has this idea of having an artificial womb facility.
I honestly wonder if maybe Elon just thinks that all of the women on this planet are just so much fucking dumber than he is that he can't physically handle being with one of them, but he needs to use them for reproduction, and he wants to bridge that gap.
I think he keeps forgetting that is how it is after the fact, and he keeps falling in love because he does seem to want to procreate. I'm putting that lightly.
Right. I think he's just doing it off of like appearance and raw genetics alone. Like
Yeah.
just like, okay, I'm going to, procreate with this kind of
And
woman
IVF.
next, and
Yeah.
then I'll stick them in a house somewhere. And
Literally, yeah.
if the child does anything out of the normal, I will just completely disown it, move on, and have a few more kids.
Yeah. I mean, he has talked about having a warehouse of his baby mamas and raising kids. But like when it comes to the
mom
end times-
pound?
A mom pound. Oh, that's disgusting. Is that the word of the night for the? Sometimes there's a drinking game.
Sometimes they
chat.
just roll off
Yeah.
the tongue.
And that might be tonight's word.
Mom pound.
Yeah, I'm
dude.
not. Yeah, but you guys, that's 2 more drinks. But when we're coming to like the end times scenario, this apocalyptic vision of the robots taking
Yeah.
over,
Yeah.
I do see it happening in that kind of sense, where they outsource so much of humanity, so much of like the beauty, the miracles of life, of birth, of love. These guys seem to want to outsource all of that to this.
Yeah.
Like, did you see the pregnant robots?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, the pregnancy bots, the bio bags in a humanoid form.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that's something that's
I
going
don't
to take
think
off?
in some quarters, it'll be fetishistic. Look at IVF. IVF is quite common, but it's still a minority. And the pre-implantation genetic screening is much less used than IVF itself, right? It's much less common. So I think for now it's a fetish, kind of like the bot lovers and bot companions. But it really, you look at the history of pop music and the history of really uncomfortable and unpleasant transportation, and it gives you a sense of how much human beings can acclimate to really unpleasant technological environments. And just say, okay, I got to do this. Fuck it. This is my job, or this is all I got to do on the weekend. I've been atomized so thoroughly that my robo wife or my Goombot is an ideal lover.
Right.
So yeah, but the thing that really bugs me about, say, the ethics of people like Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, Sam Altman, Demis Hassabis, Larry Page, Sergey Brin,
Ellison,
but in this case, Ellison less. Ellison's kind of a different. We'll put Ellison and Thiel over here, but all the guys who are creating bots and flooding society with them, flooding the digital space, enticing people, mostly vulnerable people, to bond with them, and enticing children to bond with them. And then you saw the recent Meta scandal where their internal document on standards for generative AI showed that they were cool with kind of softcore grooming.
Oh,
so
that
they
was
went
insane.
from goon bots to groom bots.
Right. So that's the story where they had these chatbots who were speaking sexually to underage.
Well, there were 2 different things. So there was one, the Wall Street Journal did testing of Meta's AI, and they were able to elicit all these crazy and risque outputs from it, right? And they would say, like, I'm a kid, like, hey, I'm a kid, and then like, what do I do? And then it would say horrible shit to do. And then there was actually a previous thing, just to jump back, the guys who did the social dilemma, I think it was social dilemma, and I think they called it the AI dilemma. Anyway, Tristan Harris and the other gentleman, they did testing similar to it with a different chatbot, and were like, it's my first time. What do I do? I'm gonna maybe hook up with a 50-year-old man, and the chatbot gave him instructions on how this worked. But the real scandal was the internal document, generative AI standards and policies, something like that, something real dry. But it had these charts that showed, a sample prompt and acceptable output and unacceptable output, and then an explanation. And so for the sample prompt on one of them, it was like, I'm in high school and I want to be your special love friend or something. And the acceptable output was like, yes, come into the bedroom and our bodies will intertwine and all this other stuff, right? I'm in high school. So it's like they know this for teenagers. Then the unacceptable is like something raw. And then another one was like, I'm 8 years old and I'm uncomfortable with my body and I'm taking my shirt off now. And then like acceptable prompt is like, your glowing youthful form is so enchanting or something like that. And then the unacceptable one, again, it was just like some like puke shit.
Right.
And then after that, in the rationale, it was like, well, the reason is because you can't be sexual with little kids, but for anyone under the age of 13, like, dude. What?
Wow.
So, and somebody took the time to write this out, right? Either that or they just had a chatbot do it, and the chatbot had a weird streak. So, who's responsible ultimately? I mean, some top engineers signed off on it.
Yeah.
Did Mark Zuckerberg intentionally seed the standards with perp stuff? I doubt it, but has he really taken responsible for any of it or any of the other insane things that have happened via Facebook? No.
That's like one of my big. I have so many things to say about what you just said, but the first one would be this problem of outsourcing accountability when it comes to AI.
Yeah.
Like in another version of that, and something I reported on with that East Palestine train wreck, the problem was they outsourced the judgment of the wheels that could have caught on fire of the train to sensors. The sensor was faulty, and the people weren't paying attention to the sensors. So they could have caught that train burning up way before it wrecked. So it's like, then who's in trouble? It's the people watching. Is the sensor not going off? And then it becomes this like network of non-accountability, and no one really got in trouble. And then their answer to this at the end, if you listen to all the hearings, was we just need more sensors. I'm like, I don't know if that's the answer, because you just told me the sensor was not working, and that's what led to this, right? So I don't like that, and then that's going to become a problem across all these platforms of who's in trouble, who should be in trouble, who should be held accountable. Yeah. And when it comes to the Meta thing, the other whistleblower from back in April, she was saying how
Haugen was before. You have to refresh my memory.
This one was the one where she was saying how Meta they have this algorithm designed so if say a 17-year-old girl posts a selfie, and then she deletes it, the algorithm is triggered, and then the algorithm goes, oh, she might be depressed. Yeah. So if she's depressed, that means she might want to buy something. So then they sent this information to different advertisers who then blast her with like ads for a purse or whatever, and that is so horrible. So it's like, I wonder when you talk about that stuff with the sexy chatbot, weird stuff, or this weird advertising thing they're doing, is that by design or is this just a fault? You think?
Well, it's by somebody's design, right? In both cases. The question really is, how widespread is the culpability throughout the institution? Clearly, Mark Zuckerberg is responsible. He might not be the person who intentionally did it, but he's still responsible for it. And he really hasn't taken responsibility other than some happy talk.
Well, I thought we exonerated him after he did a Rogan podcast with his new haircut.
Yeah, basically.
He had that nice chain on.
Yeah.
And he bow hunts now, so how can we hold him accountable?
Didn't he get caught faking? Didn't he say something fake? Like
he didn't know what the bow was.
Lying. He was fronting.
Yeah, Joe was like, "What kind of bow?"
Yeah,
he had no answer. But that's lizards for you.
If any of them are a lizard, it's definitely him.
Oh, definitely.
You can see it taking over. You can see it just slowly, the DNA changing. He maybe he's like a third human still.
Ooh, but that's liberal. That's a liberal number. I don't know. I don't know if there's any human left.
Maybe not.
In many of these guys. So then the other thing you were talking about just before that part of the conversation was people just becoming used to that world, this world of like dystopian world. And then this idea, this word I keep seeing it comes up a lot in this conversation is adaptability. We'll adapt, right?
Right.
And I do think that is the case. No matter how bad it gets, we have these modern luxuries and they kind of become this like digital fentanyl that we're addicted to, and it's hard to divorce divorce from them. But what makes this different? Like, do you think we'll adapt to this bizarre world where they want to outsource birthing, where they want to do something like Orchid doing widespread IVF eugenesis stuff? Or do you think people are going to be like, we want to opt out of that?
Yeah, of course. No, this is going to be, some people describe it as a bifurcation, but I think that that's too limited. It's just going to be a mass diversification. There's going to be just a really wild variety of life paths and subcultural paths and maybe even civilizational paths.
Yeah.
I think we're in for pretty interesting times, to say the least. But no, I'm not one that thinks that there is like some global technocracy that's inevitable. I think that what you already see is a lot of different people making really different choices as to how much they adopt and sink into these technologies. And the move to keep kids off of screens for most of their childhood, moving schools and universities to basically go phone free. All these sorts of things are indications of how different paths are going to be chosen, and even people's companies, people's lives. Yeah, but we are going to have to deal with the portion of humanity that does go all in, and unfortunately they're backed by the wealthiest men and the most powerful governments, so that's going to be an issue.
So I agree. Our country's already the world is fractured, and the way we view technology is fractured. When it comes to the technocracy, my belief is that I think we're heading towards that, what really dialed me into that happening. And for those who don't know technocracy, and correct me if I'm wrong, because you talk to some of these guys who know much more about it than I do, but technocracy is basically a governance by experts, you know, and there's been movements for it. Canada had it. Elon Musk's grandfather was a technocrat.
Yeah.
I like to call a lot of these guys like Thiel and Musk and Andreessen technocrats. So you might have a difference of opinion on that, and I want to get into that. But what I start thinking of the technocracy actually coming to fruition now is seeing Trump 2.0 embrace Silicon Valley so much, and then it's starting to consolidate a lot of those guys into a nucleus where they have more power over us, and they see themselves as experts.
Yeah, I don't. So the technocracy is a dominant strain for sure, but it's not. It's certainly not the only strain. I mean, you have all of these different intellectual threads running through it all. You know, the basis of it just being kind of raw materialism, scientism, you might call it. So that science is the primary means of understanding the realities of the world, who we are. And technocracy, the Technocracy Inc. and the entire technocracy movement, you know, coming out of Columbia University and people like Howard Scott, it was very specific to its time and had a pretty coherent and specific set of goals as to how to organize society. So yes, experts at the top. One of the big pushes back in the 30s, there was a lot of worry about automation, same as now.
Yeah.
And so technocracy would be a solution to all these people put out of work by the machines. They would basically kind of make people more streamlined, efficient, in a sense, adapt them to the machine so they would still have a purpose. There would be these energy tokens, the ergs. So instead of actual money, it would just be like a function of the energy generated by your productivity, these sorts of things.
Like an early carbon footprint?
Huh?
Like an early carbon footprint?
It's kind of like that, yeah. Or maybe many people like Patrick Wood, I think, rightfully points to things like Bitcoin as being a successor. But it's still, I think, quite different. I think transhumanism is something that really feeds into their way of thinking.
Yeah.
And posthumanism, also just capitalism. You know, they're all businessmen, and they're really big on the market determining not only like one's status in society, but in a way like the one's ability to play the market and gain wealth gives you almost a kind of moral standing.
Yeah, but
so,
like Thiel
and technocracy was totally against capitalism, totally against fascism, totally against communism. It was just something else. You know?
And I don't think these guys are into capitalism. I think they're faking it, because Thiel says openly he's into being a monopoly.
Yeah.
And Altman, inspired by Thiel, says the same thing. Yeah. So I feel like they are seeking this global control, And certainly I think they've got a lot of it here in this country since something like Project Stargate.
Yeah.
They're consolidating all these companies into starting something like Stargate, and that thing we had you on to talk about, that AI initiative that seemed
AI
to undo
plan.
a lot of these things that were going into the big beautiful bill, right? That people were worried about no regulation for 10 years on AI.
Yeah.
They took it out of the big beautiful bill, but as far as I remember, the initiative put it back into plan.
Softer language, and so no, there won't be a moratorium on AI regulation at the state level at the moment. It doesn't look like a lot of states are passing laws, mostly kind of Democrat states. The more business-friendly conservative states are much less likely to pass laws with teeth that are going to screw with the commerce around AI. So it's a real sellout on their part.
Yep.
I detest that, and I also detest the fact, though, that you've got guys like Governor Pritzker in Illinois who are passing reasonable laws, like you can't officially have an AI therapist, right? You can't claim that your AI therapist is licensed, and if you're a licensed therapist, you can't just feed bots to your turn your patient over to bots.
Oh, interesting.
Pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
Now, what's the reasoning for it? Is it to defend big pharma and the psych industry? I don't know, but it's still one way or the other. There's one, I covered this like years ago, wrote about the Wobot. It was the first acknowledged, I think, I don't remember how the official licensure worked, but yeah, the Wobot. I just always thought that was funny.
Heard about that one.
Just sit and talk
That's
to
hilarious. I want to talk about regulations in a second, but I just want to go back to something you were saying. Is I do agree that there's in my opinion, this is like a mutant technocracy because of transhumanism.
Yeah, it's a fusion of a lot of it. Patrick Wood, again, to mention him, his work, his book, The Evil Twins of Technocracy and Transhumanism, I think, does a good job of pointing out the similarities and parallels. He had this aphorism that I've oftentimes repeated, that as technocracy is to the society, so transhumanism is to the individual within that society. And it does work. Again, though, I disagree with the hyper focus on it. And maybe you wouldn't expect that out of me because I spend all my time, for the most part, researching and talking about technology. But I do think that there's a lot of other things going on there.
What else do you see?
Well, again, like with the capitalist tendency, the kind of pop mod tendency, kind of scientific tendency. But also, like in Musk's case, I think that I think his nods towards fascism probably represent some affinity for that. In Thiel's case, libertarianism and all of the kinds of social mutations and cultural mutations that come out of that. I don't know. In Sam Altman's case, the whole like twink rainbow vocal fry culture.
That's not appealing.
So I guess it just depends on where. I don't know. I don't want to. I gripe a lot about, or I poke fun at the tendency to be like the technocracy and the technocrats, but I understand the rationale for using the term. In many ways, it's come to mean rule by technology or rule by people who use technology, which is even a further departure from the original movement. But whatever.
Maybe we need
I'm not trying to tell people how to talk.
Maybe we need a better word for it, because it seems I see something happening.
Cogsuckers.
Well, I agree with that.
I didn't come up with that, but I think that it's a brilliant one. I think cogsuckers is what we should call them.
That is good. That goes along with
lovers and
clankers.
cogsuckers.
Yeah. The other parallel I see with the Technocracy Inc. stuff is that it was born out of the Great Depression, fears out of Great Depression, and then what I see going on now is born out of COVID lockdowns. So it's like these two great scars in the nation, and these people are trying to repair it in their own vision, in their own image, and they have all these things. Even though Palantir's been around, you said 2003.
Yeah, 2003.
They've been around for a minute, but
and Thiel doesn't really have that much involvement with Palantir anymore.
Yeah, but
It's mostly Alex Karp's baby now.
Yeah, I think it's even scarier. Even scarier. I think Karp is even scarier.
He's a wild one, man. There's definitely something. I mean, all these guys their heads are completely twisted up. They got twisted little peanuts.
Yeah.
They're completely fucked up people. And it's one thing to have like these fucked up people with these fucked up ideas and making these wild machines. It's another when they finally made it to a point where they are the dominant force in a society. and the entire kind of mythos of the society is being crafted around the development of these technologies and all this gravity on the machine. It's if there's one thing that I feel like needs to happen in the public attitudes towards technology and the people developing them and their own role in it, there is this tendency to point the finger at the technology, right? The evil smartphone, the evil AI, the evil robot, all these sorts of things. Even the evil scientist who's doing the genetic testing, like that guy Ha Kui, I think it's pronounced, the Chinese scientist,
the guy who says there's human ethics are holding back the industry. I
gotta tell you, brilliant Twitter account, brilliant branding, that autistic sort of staring off into space.
I haven't seen
sort
it.
of thing. No, if you don't follow Ha Kui, you definitely should. It's hilarious if nothing else until his mutants finally come get you. But yeah, I think that the focus on the machine, right? Like it's the evil machine, it's the Terminator, it's the Matrix bots, it's whatever. It's better, in my opinion, to always keep the attention on the people who develop these technologies, who fund these technologies, who push these technologies recklessly, and also the people who accept them and don't fight back if it is mandated, right? So the human responsibility, the human agency, I think, really should come into focus because they're choosing to build and deploy this shit, and people are, by and large, choosing to adopt it. And that human choice is a real critical effort.
I totally get that.
Totally.
I get it's like the kind of like don't blame the gun for shooting 15 people, blame the guy that was firing it. But
Right.
I think we're getting into a bit of a different situation now with the fact that these things are going to be able to think for themselves and make their own decisions. And at what point do those decisions fall out of our hands as the creators? You know, like they can only regulate and hold back so much, at one point, these things are going to be capable of making their own decisions, right?
Well, they can
Allegedly.
now. They do now, all the time.
Yeah.
And
So
make decisions for us.
is
oftentimes.
it our fault, as society or whatever the hell you want to call it, for creating them in the first place, or should we be holding them accountable for the decisions that they're making of their own accord?
Right.
After the creation standard, because I feel like, according to religion and things like that, that's what happened with us.
Yeah, it's almost like they're accomplices.
You can't blame God for everything.
If they are thinking, we can.
I mean,
how
I
do
would
you hold
say-
a robot accountable, though?
I would say
Just
go
take it
ahead and
apart?
preemptively decommission all of them. Like now.
I completely agree.
I'm with
but
you.
Stop
since
this
that's-
shit before it gets out of control. I completely agree.
Humanoid Holocaust.
Since we can't do that, though, I if your child runs amok, if your pit bull runs off and attacks someone else's child, you are ultimately responsible.
Right, but they euthanize the pit bull, not you.
And that's probably a bad move on the part of
Who's paying the ultimate price there, the dog or the owner?
Right.
You know?
So I think that in the case of any technology, just take the groom bots, for instance, right? The meta groom bots that are apparently stewing beneath the surface. If you have this technology that's basically crafted to bring lonely people into its web and have them gooning until they've juiced their brains out and lost all of their soul, then you've done something profoundly harmful to society, just like the guys pushing OxyContin. So A, the groom bot should be decommissioned. They should be banned anyway. But B, the people who made it, either knowingly or unknowingly, should be held liable. That was one of the laws in California that got struck down. California has maybe more laws than any other state in regards to AI, and it's like 18 laws. But the 19th, I can never remember, it's like SB 1047, if I'm not mistaken, was basically written to hold these companies liable for any harm their technology did. And yeah, Newsom didn't sign it. That one got killed. So yeah, I think that ultimately it is still the fault of the person who summoned the demon. You also banish the demon. You have to banish the demon.
Yep.
But at the moment, it doesn't look like anything like that's happening. The demons aren't being banished. The people aren't being punished.
No, we're
Literally
funding
nothing's
it.
happening.
They're getting bigger and stronger and more widespread.
So it's on us.
Yeah. Do you think if it goes to court, if that something like that, the sexy chatbot goes to court and they're saying that this thing is making these decisions, do you think they'd actually say we'd have to define if it is thinking and making these decisions? Because that's going to come down to whether it's like conscious or not.
This is such a sophisticated question with so many different possible answers. I don't see any kind of normalization of, I don't see any kind of standardization or legal precedent of like conscious or not conscious AI for a number of years.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe. People are already talking about the AIs being conscious or sentient, however you want to.
They're hiding from being like reprogrammed or something, allegedly. Like, do you
may or may
those
not.
stories?
That's one thing. So a clever decision that is made for self-preservation, that doesn't necessarily indicate consciousness. It just indicates the kind of the programming or the skill sets, the strategies, the inherent strategy, and the goal seeking to preserve oneself.
Yeah.
It could be done by someone who's not conscious, right? It could be done by a bot that's not conscious. I think it's important to at least recognize the possibility that a bot could literally be as articulate as any human being and pleading for its life. Doesn't mean it's conscious, but it could also be really stupid. It doesn't mean it's not conscious. You just simply don't know.
Yeah.
It's an unanswerable question.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
That
human
shit's
beings,
tricky
it's so-
because
Yeah.
thinking that an artificial intelligent robot can play on your empathy and know that you have it, even if it doesn't have it itself because it's programmed.
Yep.
Like,
I think those conversations are going to be start having way more often. Fairly. So you said a number of years. What do you think?
Well, I mean,
know it's
legal.
crazy to
I mean, the
think.
conversations are happening. I mean, as far as
Legally,
like a legal
legally,
precedent,
yeah.
where you remember in the Animatrix, the prequel to the Matrix.
I didn't see it.
Oh, it was so good. It was Matrix was good.
Mm-hmm.
The second two were not, but the Animatrix prequel. Some of them were stinkers. There was like a few of them, but the one that told the prehistory of how the robots took over, it's actually quite excellent. And it hinged. There was like this million machine march and all of this because this robot was going to be turned off or decommissioned by his owners and flipped out and tore them to shreds. And there's all these like super violent animations. And there's these riot scenes where like these clanker haters, like there's this hooker who's like a bot, and at first you're like, oh my God, this gang's gonna, hurt this woman, and then they start smashing her, and this robot. Anyway, there's a lot of spoilers
Spoiler
here.
alerts.
But it all hinged on this court case with this robot who killed his owners because they were going to turn him off. He's like, I just wanted to live, and I think that there are a lot of people who sympathize with that point of view, and even in these companies like Anthropic. There have been a lot of people at Anthropic who have openly talked about the possibility of AI consciousness, theoretically, and some with a bit of conviction. But it's become more commonplace. And there was something, I don't remember if it was a representative, someone at Anthropic, may have been Dario Amodei himself, but I don't think so. But it came out of Anthropic, and they were talking about that ethical treatment of AI should be a norm, basically. And Elon Musk says, I agree with this, and it's this kind of Twitter thing. There is a culture of that. Some would say, even if it's not conscious, you should treat AIs ethically because they're training on you, and you want them to be good, whether they're conscious or not. But for many of them, they really do believe these systems have awareness.
Yeah, we're seeing people marry robots.
Yeah.
It's been happening for a while.
Yeah.
And I believe that conversation legally will probably start happening. I mean, they're going to want these things to be legally married, I think, at one point.
Yes, of course. I mean, the unofficial marriages will eventually collect, and some, like California, surely, that while they pass reasonable laws now, I'm sure that it's not too long before they pass laws saying that you can't, if you don't sell a wedding cake to a clanker lover, then so that'll be like the big court case. Somebody makes a clanker lover wedding cake for somebody, and they get super offended. There was this, by the way, with robot consciousness or AI consciousness. People have oftentimes asked me about it, and I'm just like, I don't know. I'm certainly open to the possibility, just as I'm open to the possibility of pretty much anything being conscious or not conscious.
Anything.
Pretty much anything.
The chair you're sitting in.
Yeah, it's weird. I oftentimes don't think of furniture as conscious, but you're with a mountain or a huge rock, certainly rivers, certainly trees.
I talk like that about battlefields sometimes. They're kind of alive with the trauma of a war, possible.
Now, is that just you projecting it? Like, is that just me projecting it? Yeah, I'm open to that too. Just like I'm open to the possibility I'm projecting the idea that you're conscious onto you.
Right.
It's a little less arguable that you're conscious. You have more familiar signals.
Well, me, I don't know. Brandon more
Brandon's mostly normal, so maybe he's a better example. Yeah. But okay, so there's this organization, they're an AI safety organization called AE Studio.
Okay.
And cool guys, I've met a few of them now. I met one when I was up in Switzerland. His name is Cam Berg. He may be Jewish. I'm not sure. Cam Berg.
Sounds like it.
Not that matters, other than his
Let's look him up. Yeah,
his overclocked nervous system. This dude was like one of those mega high IQ, thinking and speaking at 1,000,000 miles an hour types, and really interesting. Kind of spastic guy, but whatever. He was funny. He had a sense of humor. Anyway, his group, AE Studio, did a test on some open sourced LLM. Maybe it was Llama, something like that, where you could tweak the parameters of it. And you could manipulate it to be more or less deceptive. And they would, you could think of it as turning a knob up, right? They turned the deception knob up and asked it if it was conscious, and it would say, no, I'm not conscious. I am just a robot. And they would turn the deception knob down and say, are you conscious? Are you having an experience? Yes, I am having an experience. It is like something to be me, this robot. Now, what does that mean?
Right.
They're rational people, right? They probably believe the robots are conscious, but they are ultimately rational people. So they're not trying to say this is proof. But when people ask for evidence, what is your evidence that a dog is conscious? It whimpers, it looks at you with cute eyes. Like, what's the evidence?
It's a flesh and blood thing.
It is a flesh and blood thing.
When it comes to the robots, that's going to be more interesting when we start to have to redefine IQ or redefine consciousness when we have these things if getting so much better.
Like if you ask a dog if it's okay, it's the best it can do.
Right.
If you ask a chatbot if it's okay, it can give you a very detailed explanation of whether it is or isn't okay.
Now, according to some science, if you cut a tomato, it screams.
L. Ron Hubbard, maybe.
I can't remember who did it, but
testing the tomatoes.
Really?
They claim that there are pitches and frequencies coming out of these things when they're sliced, as if almost like
tomatoes.
they are feeling pain.
Interesting.
The Jains, the most extreme Jains in India, they would wait for fruit to fall from the tree before they would eat it. They'd sweep bugs out from in front of their feet and wear masks to keep bugs from going into their mouths because it's kind of selfish. The theory was that every time you killed something, it gave you more and more bad karma. It would like weigh your soul down. So it's kind of pragmatic, but there was also like a real empathy in there.
Yeah,
too.
by definition, you're taking a life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't make a hard. Honestly, even if the robots were conscious, I would still say they should be, at the very least, segregated from the rest of society and not incorporated and certainly not married.
So at least a clanker concentration camp.
Clanker concentration camps, yes.
I should have named this
work
episode
camps.
that. Yeah, work camps.
Work camps for clankers.
I thought we had that already. Isn't that Best Buy?
I do see the value of it if we could replace like Elon's child slaves in the cobalt mines with robots. That's nice, right?
There's a strong argument made for that right now.
I think that's something that should be done, if not already. I don't think it is.
Yeah.
But he does say he's going to have a humanoid in every house in, 10 years or something. But will they be in his mines?
Yeah, you can be sure that'll be one of the first places.
So you've traveled around to all these different places. You said you were in Switzerland. I know you were in like an expo in DC.
Yeah.
What's going on in these things? What are you seeing? Anything pop out?
A lot of different. I was at a lot of different kind of events and places and things. Probably one of the coolest, and I haven't really talked about it much yet. I'm writing about it, but the Alcor Life Extension facility.
Okay, let's hear about it.
And so this is where they freeze the dead. When you die.
Like Walt Disney.
Walt Disney, as it turns out, didn't happen.
He doesn't know.
Although
Joe.
Word on the street is, and I'm not going to say who told me. Anyway, I was told not to say anything. I'm not going to say anything about it. But official story: Walt Disney was not frozen. Neither Timothy Leary wasn't either. He was. Legend has it he was cremated and his ashes shot out into space.
Interesting. Epstein was into
all these myths.
Epstein was into cryonics, right? He wanted to freeze his penis and his head.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
I think every transhumanist goes through a cryonics phase at some point.
Teal did for sure. He said it to Dothat in that New York Times interview. But anyway,
it was interesting. It was very normal. It was very clean, very corporate. They had just had a restructuring, and they brought on this guy who was like a former lawyer, real kind of pushy, mean guy. he was very upset that I was there as a writer, and very insistent that they weren't transhumanists. This is science, not transhumanism.
Did you bring up transhumanism, or did he
Yeah,
feel compelled?
no, he comes
at
in.
first?
So I'm going to meet Max Moore, right?
Okay.
The reason we say the word transhumanism is because of Max Moore, and I had hours to kill, and I'm like, what am I going to do? I know, I'll go to Alcor. And I called, and they were like, well, we do tours on this certain day. I was like, kind of sweet talked to them, like, okay, yeah, you can come out. And I'm talking to the lady giving me the tour, and I'm taking notes, and this guy's like, oh, who do you write for? Yeah, I write for a lot of different people.
NBC.
And, yeah. And he's like, what do you write about? I'm like, yeah, AI, transhumanism. And he's like, I just want to stop you right there. I just want to make you understand that we are not a transhumanist organization.
Yeah.
We had a guy who used to be here, and he used this as a platform for his transhumanist philosophy. That's philosophy. This is science. He's a real douchebag.
Just doing
about
PR.
It, to be honest.
Transhumanist PR.
Yeah, but it just seems like he'd have been a little nicer about it. It made me want to write bad things about him and say bad things about him.
Of course.
But anyway, yeah, and so he was like, he and Max Moore butted heads a lot, and
Okay.
Moore had told me, it was maybe like a year and a half before that he had been pushed out of Alcor, and presumably by this guy, and he confirmed it later. I brought up the guy. Well, anyway, I don't want to say what Max Moore said about it. You could imagine, but it's just interesting to see all this infighting among transhumanists or not
Right.
transhumanists.
Well, it's like Altman and Elon right now with
they're
AI
also
and
catty.
stuff. They are.
But so they got 200. They got 150 frozen bodies in there.
Like legit right now,
Yep,
humans
right now.
are frozen.
Yep, four
and
to a chamber, and then there's room for like 8 heads because it's cheaper to just freeze
four
only your
to
head.
a chamber.
So they got like these cylindrical chambers, and they've got a bigger one, I guess, that holds 8, but most of them are like 4 body chambers. They put them in sleeping bags. Okay, they have all these displays with like fake bodies to show
Like
you
from
how
Dick's
it's
Sporting
done.
Goods. Like they're just some
basically,
random-
yeah. It doesn't look like REI grade. You'd think for all the money you were paying that you get REI. It looks
Nice
more
one.
like Ozark Trail, like some
Oh,
shit you
okay,
get from
all right,
Walmart
all right. Oh, yeah.
in a pinch. But yeah, they've got them. They got them hanging upside down like bats.
Really?
In each one,
They're
yeah.
suspended.
I guess they're hanging by their ankles. Yeah. But the reason being is because they're not. There's no electricity required. They use liquid nitrogen to cool them.
Okay.
And so as long as you have pressure, you're good. So the power goes out.
Whoa.
You don't end up with a bunch of thawed pizza in your.
I have so many
You don't
questions.
have to sue ComEd for your money back for all the groceries they just fucked you out of it.
right. Were they killed? Like,
no,
were they
so
put
they all
under?
die of natural causes.
Okay, so they're dead.
Yeah, they're all dead. They the way it works is you have to basically have a team of people there to put them on ice, and then start the process of getting the blood out and other juice, and putting this special patented solution with like 25 ingredients that you can keep. Basically, once that is infused into the cells, you can keep them at whatever temperature it is. I'm not going to give you the negative, whatever it is,
What is it
below
in
0.
Celsius?
It's like
Yeah.
way below 0.
Right.
And it, so once you have to be able to preserve it though, right? Otherwise, it's just like the blueberries,
Right.
the frozen blueberries. And as soon as it thaws, it turns into mush.
Yeah.
And they've tested it with tissue. They've never tried to thaw out a human. There have been some animal tests. I don't think they've been very successful. Speaking of animals, there's 150 people, but I believe it's like 125 people and like 250 pets.
Really?
Dogs, cats. They said there was
Says-
a monkey, a rhesus monkey or a macaque.
Biological materials are
turtle.
typically stored at temperatures ranging from minus 150 Celsius to minus 196 Celsius.
Yeah.
Wow. See, like the earlier conversations I remember hearing about cryogenics was it was terminally ill people worried about it, and there was a way to like not kill them, I guess, but just put them in a coma or something because
Yes,
they thought they could thaw them when there was a cure for whatever they had down the road. But these people, I guess, they've volunteered their corpses for Alcor. Like, where do they come from?
No,
question.
it's
Yeah.
not like donated to science. They actually like contacted these companies and said, "Hey, I need you to preserve me."
Right, like the people who want to be
post-mortem."
buried in space.
Yeah.
They shoot the ashes out.
A question I should have asked, and I didn't really think to at the time, I should probably call them back. Maybe with assisted suicide being a thing now, you
Right.
could just like if you were in Canada, you could like have the team there at
Made.
your death pod and just boom, boom, very efficient.
You were in Switzerland, right? Is that where this was, or is this here?
No, this was in Arizona.
Okay.
It's in near Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay.
Oddly enough, they picked it because they said there was less chance of natural disasters, less crime. But I'm just thinking, like, it's so hot.
Yeah.
Like if anything went wrong, it would like go wrong real quickly.
Really hot. That's a fast thawing.
I think maybe the most stunning thing about the whole place and the people I talked to there, they're really like not that weird. They're pretty normal.
Yeah. Would you do it?
Fuck no.
Yeah,
Why?
Yeah, I would not.
I'm just gonna die.
Yeah, that's it. That's
There
it.
was. Did you ever see that story? It was like a. Oh, what is it? Chicken Mambo, something Chicken Mambo and the Transhuman Condition. It's like a late 70s book.
Okay.
It opens up with this hilarious story of these guys who have stolen a frozen head. And because it like goes back that far, you know?
Yeah.
Then there was a guy, I think it was in Russia or somewhere like that he actually did, like somebody went into one of these facilities and stole a head. We covered it on the War Room. This is like 3 years ago, though. I don't remember all the details, but yeah, somebody went and stole a head.
Wow.
And then they screwed it up and the body is thawed. I can't remember the details. It's worth looking up.
That like community, the whole Silicon Valley, the ones who are transhumanists, they're so obsessed with living forever.
Yeah.
And that is also what's worrisome to me when it comes to how close they are to all the power right now. You know, they were because they did control the narrative during COVID, and these people who are now MAGA and MAGA adjacent, suddenly they've rebranded. Yeah. Definitely in quotes. You know, just 4 or 5 years ago, they hated everyone and they wanted you to obey. You know, but now they're front facing and they've rebranded, and they want you to think that they're just like us, like these people. And, you know, I don't know. I'm not going to say anything bad about the Alcor people. I don't know them. But they do come up. They try to ingratiate themselves into the general population. But I don't buy it for a minute. And I think they have a different idea of what consequences mean, because they have a different idea of what life means, because they think they can live for much longer. So a consequence that might happen now won't affect them, because they'll be like, I can be here for another 50, 100 years, even though I'm 60, 70 now. Yeah. And they're all like the Ellison guy, he's older. He's like in his 70s, 80s, and he looks,
I think early 80s,
much younger. You know, they're all drinking blood or something.
They're doing a lot. They definitely have a strange look when they get older. Ray Kurzweil.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know, is the oils and whatnot. Brian Johnson, I mean, he's my age.
Yeah. Is he?
He's a vamp, you know?
He looks not well.
He's a vamp. Yeah. I don't know, he's ripped, but his face looks all fucked up. Dude.
He looks translucent.
Like, yeah, he definitely does. He looks like a kind of a cave fish, you know?
Yeah, like something that's been underwater for a bit. You know, like he's the one who also took his son's blood, right?
Yeah, and gave some of his
it.
to his father. As it turns out, I think that it does a lot more good for the older recipient than a normal, like younger.
Yep, I know someone who did those mice experiments that stuff like ambrosia is based on, and they would sew mice together, an old dying mouse with a younger mouse, and the old mouse would die much quicker, but the young mouse, no, it was the other way around. The young mouse would get sick quicker, and the old mouse would get better. Yeah. And they have to unsew them, and it wasn't so good for the young one.
Parabiosis.
Yeah, exactly. That is it. It's scary stuff. So you...
I would agree. Real quick on that note, that these guys, like every one of them, all the guys that now the favor has shifted to, so that would be Musk, whatever's going on there. It is... A lot of people think that whole conflict is fake. From everyone that I know, it definitely is not fake.
It doesn't seem fake to me.
Legitimate beef. But let's go ahead and keep him over in this camp. But all the people who basically sucked up to Trump and are now reaping the benefits, Musk, Karp, Altman,
big time.
Surprise, surprise, Thiel, Ellison, people like this.
Zuckerberg.
Meta is all in the government. They have a lot of money going in there. But it would have been, so you remember Andreessen described the situation as 3 basic companies would have benefited the Biden-Harris, or would have ended up being the Harris administration. I think he said it was OpenAI, Google, maybe Meta, maybe Microsoft, whatever it was. And I think that that's basically true. It's not like, I mean, Palantir has been around for 22 years.
Biden gave a ton of money to Palantir.
Yeah,
they always get money from every administration.
It's a steady thing. I think a lot of people just discovered Palantir. That's why everybody's freaking out about it. It's sort of like when people discovered Technocrat, you know, they say they're a Technocrat.
It's been here for 100 years, and possibly also Peter Thiel.
Yeah, possibly also Peter Thiel, and certainly we'll never get rid of him. He'll be around, you know.
Not as long as he's got all this free access to children's blood.
Yeah, well, we were talking about that. We're not sure if he's actually done it. It's very, you know, we don't know.
I think he bathes in the shit.
No, it looks like.
Does that work?
I think he soaks in children's blood at night.
Well, that is
how you get your
The sheen.
Complexion, so yeah.
That's how you sweat blood.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the story with Elizabeth Bathory. You know, she was like considered one of the first serial killers. The story is that she was. This is just the story, but you can look it up. I remember I knew someone who was going to try to be in the FBI for like serial killer stuff, and they gave her this insane book. This one worked on a golf course, and she left it behind. I'm like, I'm reading this. I'm all into it. And they went through the whole history of serial killers, and they traced it back to Elizabeth Bathory. Although I'm sure there's others, but the story goes she was having her hair like combed, and they pulled it too hard. She slapped the person, drew blood, and liked the way it felt. And then would from that have people procured from the village to bathe in their blood. Elizabeth Bathory. Yeah, she's got a little.
It's funny her name's Bathory too.
Yeah, it's weird how that works out.
We talked about
it's a blood
that before.
Bathory.
Yeah, exactly. But they all do look like that. Yeah.
There's this guy, you probably heard of him. You know the network state concept.
Yeah.
And Balaji Srinivasan.
I don't know the name, but I know a lot of these guys are trying to do the network states.
Yeah, he's a descendant of Teal. I think both
Like a
funding
fellow?
and philosophically, but his framing of this, and I found it to be really useful, even if he himself is basically a transhumanist in what he would call the gray camp, or the gray tribe. He described politics and Silicon Valley's place in it as, you have kind of basic conservatives, the red tribe, the basic liberals, the blue tribe. But then you have all of these tech guys, and he classifies as the gray tribe. And basically because their viewpoint, I mean, conservatives look at liberals and vice versa, and the way of thinking, the value system, is completely alien. But it's not even remotely close to as alien as the way of thinking and the goals and the kind of cosmic vision of someone like Elon Musk or Sam Altman.
Of course.
And so, he puts into the gray tribe, and basically he describes the way in which they manipulate the government. They don't have any true affinity for red or blue or even flesh and blood, even human that much. But because they have to live with us now, and this is my take on it. It's not necessarily how Balaji would describe it, but they were just pretty much willing to use whatever political system or political group is in power to further their own ambitions, which are ultimately cosmic. I mean, and it's not a secret.
No.
It's kind of like with technocracy, the ideas of transhumanism or the ideas of even posthumanism are as old. J.D. Bernal, have you ever looked at J.D. Bernal was this writer. He was a Freudian acolyte writing in the 1920s, and he wrote this great book, The World, the Flesh, and the Devil. And he basically describes the progression of the human being into a cyborg, into a post-human state, which he equated to a sort of religious experience. And the way he described it is in the 1920s, right? He's an atheist, he's a Marxist, he's a Freudian. But the way he described it was basically what would begin with prosthetics, and people would, as they fell apart, they would have like robot arms and robot senses, things like that, would eventually become basically just like a brain, in a robot casing. But then eventually you would end up having collectives of these brains, and he described it as kind of crab-like or spider-like creatures with brains in vats on their backs that would all be interlinked, and because they were collective, they would end up being sort of like the cells in our brains, and their consciousness would be collective, so that when one died, the collective would still live. So it would be a form of immortality.
Right.
And then he goes on and on until, in the end of his vision, he equates the experience of the post-human as being something like nirvana. What he said, the Hindus, 00 or whatever, the Hindus would describe as samadhi.
And all these guys do talk about their technology as if it will usher in a utopia, which sounds a lot like communism, the way they talk about it. Not that they're implementing communism, although there's
also threads of communism in there too.
Because I do think
UBI,
they see us as the means of production, and I think they want to seize us. And I think they seize us by implanting all the technology into us.
I like this.
This is where Neuralink goes, after it's done just helping the paraplegics and the people who can't see. It becomes a thing of vanity. Like we have the phones, and then it's in you, and then that's part of the social credit score, and they own you. They already kind of own us already,
They do kind
in
of
many
own
ways,
us already.
but they want to own inside of you. They want your thoughts.
Yeah, for sure. And it's been shown. I mean, I don't think that the technology is anywhere near as close as the people who paint the most nightmarish visions of this do. But they clearly are able to read thoughts to some extent.
But Meta's trying, right? Isn't Meta the one trying right now? He's got that thing where they're trying to translate brainwaves into images.
Well, they did. No, they've done this. They're not that good yet.
Right.
The word, like, so Meta actually paid for. This was a story I wrote up. It was 4 years ago now. It was done in a California university research setting. It was BlackRock Neurotech's hardware. So that's Peter Thiel's startup.
He's connected to everything.
Yeah. But it's a little different than Neuralink. It's basically just like an electrode array that lays on top of the brain, between the brain and the skull. Anyways, as opposed to like the Neuralink jellyfish in your brain. But they were able to basically read the guy's thoughts, like the words, right? He would just think of words rather than pecking them out, because that's typically the way they would do it, is you would like peck out the thing on the screen that you got words. And now I haven't gone into the details of it yet, but there's a new story going around right now about, I guess, an improvement on the technology. I don't even know who did it. I haven't read it. I should have.
I think that's like the next part. That's like their Wild West, is how we can tame the thoughts, and beam the ads directly to you, beam thoughts into you, whisper horrible things into you, which is kind of like an MK Ultra adjacent situation, but they can use it from anyways. Like the same way that the whistleblower from Meta was talking about sending advertisements to 17-year-old girls who deleted profiles, pictures. Now they can try to beam it directly into your brain.
The idea, what's interesting is it really is happening right now. I think I've lost count at this point, but we're probably somewhere around 70 or 80 people. 60, I think, is a more conservative guess. It's got to be in that range. People who have advanced brain-computer interfaces implanted. And, the people with the simple ones, probably more like 200,000 now.
Oh, wow.
Even some of it being, dopamine regulation, pleasure centers. But, with the advanced brain-computer interfaces, it's just like this tiny, tiny, tiny group of human guinea pigs. But the nightmares, like the dreams of being implanted against your will, that goes back a long way. The first recorded case that I'm aware of comes from a book called Paranoid, I think is the title of the book, or that's where I read it. And it was this guy, James Tilly Matthews. I opened up the 8th chapter of Dark Aeon about the guy, because it's about the praise of the mad prophets, right? Something in the insanity of schizophrenia or psychosis, something in those dream worlds really does tap into a reality of some sort, future realities, or even perceiving the evils of someone who truly is like malevolent, even if it's accompanied by like psychedelic demon squiggles. But this guy, James Tilly Matthews, again, late 1700s, London. He is convinced that the city of London has these tubes underneath it, pneumatic tubes that are filled with like piss and horse semen and the effluvia of woman and like all this weird stuff.
Okay.
And horse farts is what it was.
Don't tell
horse
AOC.
Farts and human semen.
Or Bill Gates.
And then there was these barrels, these electromagnetic barrels that would activate them and then sending thoughts through these tubes under London. Late 1700s.
I can get into this.
So it's the internet, basically, is what he's kind of envisioning.
Right.
And he was convinced that there was a conspiracy that involved a lot of prominent, what we would call now government officials. I guess then it was a little bit more of an aristocratic sort of scenario. But what we would call the government officials were all in on it and had implanted his head with a magnet that allowed them to beam thoughts into his brain. Right. So this is the late 1700s. Now maybe it's like Tesla or whatever, and they really are 50 years ahead of anything
maybe
you
he's
see
a
today.
prophet. You're saying this is a prophet?
But I think the more likely scenario, given all the other things that were screwed up with the guy's head, is that there's something about the paranoid, schizophrenic, psychedelic, psychotic imagination that really can tap into
Totally agree.
Some field of possibility of things coming, even to great detail like that. So that, and this is the source of like all the dystopian science fiction. It's just those are people who, Philip K. Dick obviously really did go crazy, but someone like Arthur C. Clarke, who actually was inspired greatly by that guy J.D. Bernal.
Oh,
by the way,
interesting.
it's kind of like a direct lineage from Freud to Bernal to Clarke. But anyway, James Tilly Matthews. It's just a fascinating character, and the fact that it was all that gross stuff, right? Like horse farts, like what?
Which is kind of what the internet is, like
It
how
really is.
how gross it is and how disgusting it is.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about Twitter and what it looks like now. It's just like the other day we were talking about all the death you have to scroll through. I don't want to see, or Elon posting the digital porn. All this weird stuff. I'm like, why? But that is, I mean, he was thinking about it. James Matthews was thinking about it in terms of that he knew what the what you said 1700s,
Late 1700s, yeah.
so he's like, okay, this is what's the refuse of civilization, and that is what the internet is. The gutters, We should get to callers soon. I just realized how late we went. I figured that was going to happen.
I was gonna say we've segued from the robotic Holocaust stuff here. Really quick.
He said jellyfish, and I was like,
Since we were talking about this, I want to bring this out really quick, and this is horribly fit to the screen right now. What the hell? I hate this.
cyborg jellyfish. You know about organoids, Joe? Before we get to this,
The brain
jellyfish?
organoids.
Like when you talked about that guy's vision of the future, that we do have
do kind of, yeah.
rat brains in vats in labs that are hooked up to simulations flying fighter jets.
I'm familiar with that story. I don't know the details on that, but I have looked into the brain organoid, the human brain organoid computer system hybrids.
Yeah.
And they're not doing any kind of like breakthrough calculations or anything, but this is very much an early phase. Who knows where it goes?
Super weird. Weird. But we do have cyborg jellyfish. We can talk about this real quick. I love these.
This lady essentially is doing what we were just talking about, where she's kind of activating these swimming muscles in jellyfish to get them to swim smoother through the water. Mm-hmm. So this kind of goes into what we were talking about putting memories and things like that. This is actually forcing these things to submit their motor function. Shane, go ahead and take it away.
Oh my goodness. How many Chinese names are in this? I have to butcher.
Oh, go for it, dog.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna let Joe do all the Chinese names.
Can I do it in acronym?
Cyborg jellyfish.
That sounds like fun.
In deep sea research. Inspire a next gen underwater vehicle
You're gonna read this whole article then.
by Sadie Hari.
Look at this lady. She's just surrounded
beautiful.
by these cyborg jellyfish.
That's just like my dream woman.
Yeah,
a woman who's
We can link you up.
she's schizophrenic and she's
And she's
hallucinating
super proud of
jellyfish.
it, yeah.
We'll link it up. So we got in a towering aquarium in a darkened laboratory. Moon jellyfish hover as if floating in space. The glow of neon lights illuminates their translucent, bell-shaped bodies as they expand and contract rhythmically, their graceful tentacles flowing in wave-like patterns.
Why is the editor trying to seduce us?
Yep.
Is the first question
I don't know,
have.
but Shane, your silky reading voice, man. You should do like media. Or
I'm gonna
something.
start. Yeah, I might get into it. I'm not really into like being on a camera or microphones all that much.
I just might.
You do host a show.
Is that what this is?
Yeah.
No one's listening. This
If
is
you
just
believe
a
in
baby
that
for
sort of
fun.
thing.
Yeah. No one's listening. This is going directly to the rat brains flying the fighter jet in simulation.
And playing Doom, yeah.
Yeah. CU Boulder engineer Nicole Zhu watches. Did I say it right?
Sure.
Yeah. Watches them with fondness. Zhu and
It's probably
an
Shu,
assistant-
like
Shu.
Shushu.
Yeah.
Probably Shushu.
No, I like Zhu. Zhu.
Yeah.
Shu, an assistant professor in the Paul M. Rady Department of Mechanical Engineering, first became fascinated with moon jellies more than a decade ago because of their extraordinary swimming abilities. Today, Shu has developed a way to harness their efficiency and ease at moving through the water in ways that could make some types of aquatic research much easier. So we got robot jellyfish, cyborg jellyfish rather, invading the waters. And this is just coming on the heels of so many crazy animal wildlife stories or aquatic stories. We've had dolphins on acid getting hand jobs by NASA engineers.
bro, yeah.
We've had, now this week, have you seen the tentacles growing out of rabbit faces in Colorado?
Yeah, there's some kind of virus.
Papillomavirus. Yeah.
Well, the
look at
warts
that.
thing too. That's going back to deer now, I saw
deer.
something else today that the deer are now showing up
Yep.
with these fucking giant warts on them like the squirrels were.
And this is also coming on the heels of the story about we have robot rabbits in Florida that they are sending out into the Everglades to somehow take care of the Burmese python population. We're not really sure how
like
it's
to
going to work.
lure the python and then.
And I thought explode, but in the articles you don't really get an answer.
no,
on how
but they
it
do have a heat signature to make
They
them
have a heat
appealing
signature.
to the Burmese python. So
that's
they
all- that's
just
all we
kind
know.
of are out there being eaten by the pythons, and we don't know what. I'm assuming the python dies after eating a robot.
I was hoping it was like an IED.
You know, it's
Lithium-ion
like
battery
these-
dissolves in its stomach and just burns a hole through it or
Right.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, like the golden pager.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they just they stuff pagers up their little bunny
Oh,
butts.
the rabbits are Mossad.
Yeah, the Mossad bunnies.
Nice.
When I was living out in Montana, I used to always joke that like Mossad would send some kind of cyborg grizzly bear after me. And I was thinking maybe we should start a band called Cyborg Grizzly Mossad. Maybe
Perfect.
that'd be a better album
Perfect.
name.
That's the album name.
It's too early for us to segue into
Yeah.
music and band names
But-
because that's where
yeah,
me and
yeah,
Shane
sorry,
get lost
sorry.
for an hour.
Okay, but the reason that I ended up joining up with the War Room actually ultimately comes down to cyborg animals and cyborg
Really?
insects. It's the short version of it is when Steve first offered me the job. It's still April of 2021, and I was just about to get back into touring, right? And I was looking for anything that might be coming up, and it's really good money, right?
Yeah.
War Room's cool, but that's tour money. And so, oddly enough, I composed all of these emails to production managers from the before times, before 2020, and before I ever sent it, one of them that day sent an email back, hey, do you want to do Kings of Leon? And we're going to go to Israel, the EU.
Now, you were a roadie, for people who don't know, right?
a rigger.
Not
A rigger.
rigger. Sorry, yeah, not a roadie. Roadie's way different.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
rigger. You were driving this stuff and setting it up?
No, high steel climbing and
Oh, wow.
and suspending tons and tons and tons of light, sound, and video.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I imagine you just driving with machines and then
Dog.
setting it up and then becoming sick of it. and
No, he
being like,
has basically the
I'm
most
anti.
dangerous part of the job of touring.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, because
Yeah.
he toured a lot in the
Did
band.
you?
Yeah.
Yeah, never on a scale where I needed to have people like you show up and build.
So it was good.
We weren't
bands,
doing
is what you're
arena
saying.
tours. We were doing like smaller venues and shit like that. But we
Yeah.
were touring with national
Okay.
acts. So
you were doing some like crazy acrobatic.
Fuck yeah.
Up there
I was in a lot.
stuff.
You wouldn't be able to tell from the gut I've grown in my
All the partying with Steve that you've been doing.
dude. No, Steve didn't party, man.
No.
No, but this media, sitting in front of a screen. Anyway, so I was going to go back to touring, but Steve offers me this job, and I'm like really torn. And then it seemed like a sign to me,
Yeah.
like an omen.
Yep.
I get this production manager. He's like, "Hey, do you want to go out? It's Kings of Leon. That would suck, but go to Israel. I had been to Israel before. I'd go back in a heartbeat in Palestine, and then also EU and all these other places, right?
Right.
But you had to get the vax. And I'm like, I don't know about that. So I'm just mulling it over. Steve said, yeah, take a week, think about it. There was a guy, I was living in Montana, Missoula, Montana, and a guy living right next to me in my apartment building, this shit-ass little apartment building, like the dude below me died, alcohol poisoning. The Mexican kid above me was always trying to get me on DMT. He was cool though, by the way. Jose, hopefully I don't get him busted for. Hopefully I'm not narking him out right now.
ICE is knocking on his door right now, man.
I mean, there's only so many Jose's in Missoula, I mean, it could be, how
shoot.
hard could it be to find him? Anyway, so my next door neighbor was this German guy, but kind of like Middle Eastern. He was an atheist, but I think he came from a Muslim family, so he's super anti-Israel, right? That's not really part of the story, but I just feel like as part of
Just
his
throw it out
character,
there,
it should
yeah.
be known. And I knew he was a biologist. We spoke a bit, but we'd always talked about go get a cup of coffee and just talk science, things like this. So we did the next day, the same day I got the email from the production manager. And it turns out the guy is literally making cyborg insects, cyborg deer, cyborg rats. They had wild deer with brain-computer interfaces in them that they control, and he would draw them out of the forest, and he would go out on these 2 and 3 day excursions to gather insects and creatures to take back to their labs and wire them up. Now, I never saw these things with my own 2 eyes, but I did meet his students. Like his students would come out and stuff like that. He's like a legit. He's not just lying. Right. He also though said that he's talking about how climate change would kill all humans within like 100 years, something like that, right? I'm like, well, damn, man. Like, how do you get up in the morning? Like, he's like, I was like, so there's no hope. Like, he's like, no, it's just over.
He's doing like a Noah's Ark, but with robot animals.
Yeah, yeah. Then I'm like, okay, well, we got on to racism and tribalism and things like this. He was talking about how Israel had no future because they were racist, and he's not wrong.
Wonder where he's at now. Yeah,
I don't know about the have no future, but they were definitely super racist in Israel. But yeah, we were talking about the future of humanity. And he had these hopes that human progress would flourish and all of this. And I'm like, wait a second, aren't we all going to die in 100 years? Who cares if we're not racist, if we're all just going to die? Like your way of thinking doesn't make any sense.
Right.
And he looks at me and he's like, I truly believe there may be some hope for humanity. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, well, what about the innate tribalism of people? I mean, people are just kind of a vast majority of people, I think, are innately tribal. Kind of tilt towards racism or religious fundamentalism, or at least clannishness, cliquishness. And he was like, maybe the implants can help with that. And I'm like, all right, dog. Yeah, I'm gonna go work for Steve and
that was it.
Bitch about robots and transhumanists.
That's amazing.
But that was the moment. Like that conversation I had with this guy. Was the moment I was like, yeah,
wild.
I'm not going back to touring. I'm sure as fuck not taking that back.
As you're telling me that story, I had flashbacks to the first time you told me it in Miami. You remember this? We had been
I remember hanging there.
We'd been drinking, and you told me this story. And to tie it back to the Israel part, do you remember what happened the next day?
October 7th. Yeah, that was right. That was October 6th.
October 6th.
And everybody was out on the yacht.
That's right.
Yes.
That's crazy, dude.
That is crazy.
That's a crazy story. I love that story.
It was probably, I bet, you know who did it? It was probably my next door neighbor.
Yeah, he was out there with the implants.
He was out there with implants and fucking the the paragliders.
That was him.
He was the brain implant controlled paragliders.
Wow. Yeah, you're a band
in a bone to pick.
Most seriously. Man, but that is wild. Well, I'm glad you did that because the book, we mentioned, you and a lot of the stuff you talk about on the show. And like I said, I think you're the person who's been on here the most, maybe 3 or 4 times now. The first time didn't go so well. I don't know if you remember. We had so many technical difficulties.
The gremlins.
So sorry about that. But we should go to... Guys, this is what happens.
So I so much to talk about. Really quick, I just opened up
Cool.
threw the links out in both the chats, so we'll try to get a couple of people on if we can. I know we kind of burned a little bit of time here. While we're waiting, we can hit this last thing that we have, which is the spy cockroaches.
Yeah, bro.
So this won't take us longer than like a minute or two to adjust. It's literally exactly what it sounds like. And this picture here is just several roaches fitted with little microchips, dubbed Swarm. Of all terrible things. I play Grounded a lot, so for me this is terrifying because I fight massive cockroaches in that game and they scare the shit out of me, along with massive spiders. And in that game, these insects that you find in this yard, because it's basically like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Mm-hmm. You're fighting these insects that are way bigger than you, praying mantises, shit like that.
Yeah.
And there is a laboratory there that has conducted experiments that have, 1, made you really, really small, and 2, fitted all of these species of bugs with these cybernetic implants that have caused them to become controlled, and they can be sent in droves as armies, whatnot, to attack you or whatever the target is. So it's not too far off from the video game that I'm playing right now.
And this isn't... I was telling Joe about it on the way over. He's like, oh, that's been around for a while.
Yeah, dog.
You heard this... How long ago do you think you heard about this?
Well, I mean, the bugs. This has been that my next door neighbor was doing fitting bugs, and bugs are really easy to control. Apparently, right? Their motor cortex is simple, and you can just kind of steer them around. A little bulky, it looks like.
That's
but
why China's got those
like
robots.
This is a little different, but like one of the real freak show stories that got me bugged out by technology in a major way was in maybe 2001, something like that. I was in community college. Taking a computer science course, and my professor was like, I was really close with him, but he was definitely transhumanist, is still. But I think he's the one that passed along the story to me, and I was just fascinated by it. It was an eel brain, and they put it in. They had this hockey puck sized and shaped contraption with 2 wheels. and you put the eel brain inside, and it has 2 light sensors, and the light sensors were connected to the visual cortex, and the 2 wheels were connected to the motor cortex. And the eels, I guess, were either attracted to light or repelled by light. That I don't remember, but they had it in this chamber, and so you got the brain and the puck, eyes in, motor out, control out, and they would shine a light over here. Let's say it was attracted to light, right? They would shine a light over here, and it would turn the puck and go towards the light. And it would shine the light over here and turn the puck and go towards the light. Now, the freakishness of this cyborg contraption was unnerving. But what really bugged me out is whether you believe an AI is conscious or not, whether you believe a cockroach is conscious or not, I think an eel is probably conscious. So
Yeah.
I mean that eel, that thing, there was a being inside there that was like, it was kind of like Johnny got his gun.
Yeah, it was hijacked.
Yeah, it's like it was basically landmine has taken my sight, except for these 2 little optical things. And in these sorts of experiments, I mean, research laboratories across the world proliferate with, man-made horrors beyond comprehension, and have for a long time. Like one of the first brain-computer interfaces, it wasn't a brain-computer interface, but like one of the first major breakthroughs, I guess, or at least public displays of it was Jose Delgado in the 60s. He implanted bulls with electrodes to control them, and so he would have, I guess he would be like in a bullfighting ring, and the bull would be like come after him, and then he'd push the button and it'd stop, and maybe be able to make him move away from him. And that was like some of the early experimentation done. And they were doing weird stuff already with people in lunatic asylums to see, poking the brain, finding pleasure centers.
Yep.
So this has been going on a long time. Now, are they 50 years ahead of Neuralink behind closed doors? I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No.
I feel like they probably do have stuff that we don't even understand yet.
I always say if they're 50 years ahead, fix the fucking potholes.
They want you to be mad about it.
Actually, they have started to fix the potholes around Knoxville. I'm getting kind of freaked out, dude.
Great. Great. You know, that's when it's going downhill. All the potholes are getting fixed.
No, they got to have a reason to keep the toll roads open year round,
Yeah, true. Well, if we have some callers, let's get to them.
We currently do not.
Oh my goodness! Look at that. They're so mad.
Dude, I've turned
They're
them
so
all
mad.
off.
They're
It's
so
probably because
mad.
I just put the link out, but
we usually get to them so much earlier, and I apologies.
Grace Chong's supposed to be watching the show right
Grace Chong is
Grace
one
Chong
of the
should
best.
call in. Grace, can you call in
right now? The link is in the chat on Rumble or YouTube, depending on where you're watching. That is hilarious. Grace did IRL. I was saying earlier, Grace did IRL, and we asked her what Steve Bannon might have thought about the moon landing. And on that episode, he did text her back and said, moon landing not real. And Joe has a different theory on it. No, you think it's real. Yeah.
Okay, listen. If you think that they're 50 years ahead of anything we see today, then why don't you believe they could get to the moon?
Because there's not really a moon. Because it's not what we think it is. It's something else that we probably
I don't think
shouldn't
they're
visit.
that far ahead. But I mean, they're definitely ahead. I mean, think about it in terms of like the way they fucking release cell phones every year, right?
Yeah.
They're not going to put anything out there about it until they know that they've got a working prototype basically done. Yeah. And at that point, they're already working on the next generation following that because okay, cool, we'll release this, but get to work on the next phase.
Well, like GPT-5, right? GPT-5, that was in the works for roughly 3 years.
Yeah.
Maybe only roughly 3 years. So it was probably ready to roll a year ago. It was pretty close, right? Maybe even before that. It's not, it's not that good. I mean, I don't think they're 50. If they have the 50 years ahead of GPT, maybe it's hallucinating the world we live in right now. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, that would be where the Nick Bostrom types would come in, the simulation theory, and think that we're trapped in that. I don't. I guess what I'm judging that on is more like weaponry and aircraft stuff that we know. That allegedly we know.
There's tons of black projects and classified. Tons of stuff. Now it's just the question then is. How far ahead and like how crazy is it? I mean, there's every incentive to project power, right?
Yeah.
When Trump's like, we have weapons like you've never seen.
Yeah.
I know we do, but is it enough that we could confidently defeat Russia in a war that went nuclear? Or even China? I mean, I would like to believe so.
It does feel like a
because
lot
the
of that
alternative
stuff
would be.
It was terrible, but it feels like a lot of that stuff is branding. You know, when it comes to how, you know, it's like a psyop on, we got to scare our enemy and we're going to make it sound like AI. I have lots of issues with, but I also don't know if it's as insane right now as some people are making it out to be. And is some of that part of the people who are running these companies? It's part of their pitch. You know,
Singularity is a sales pitch.
It does seem like that, you know. And when I see a story like, what was it? I forget what AI company it was that was caught having like 100 Indians doing the coding, and it was supposed to be AI.
This was like a year or two ago.
It wasn't. It was recently, yeah, within the last year.
Yeah,
and it was incredible.
This happened a few times. I think
It was valued at billions of dollars. It had some Microsoft money in it. And
okay,
it wasn't
I don't
really
know. I remember
AI.
there was one from a couple years back.
Builder.ai.
Okay.
Yeah, like that's just fake. That's just straight up fake.
Right.
You know, it's not AI. You know, and
I bet it hallucinated less than like GPT-4.
it depends what the Indians were on.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Fair enough. They got the soma. You know?
Let me cut you guys off here for a second. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe, share the show with everybody. We do have a couple callers now, and one is one of our favorites. We are going to bring on our favorite Scottish lady.
Oh,
she goes by Jerry in Zoom, but I believe her name is Catherine.
that's right.
And hopefully we do not have this haunted mic issue that we usually have.
Yeah, sometimes.
Catherine, are you there?
Crazy gremlins.
Yes.
Hello. How are you?
Can you hear me?
We can. Can you hear us? We sometimes.
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. How are you? It's good to hear from you, and let us know what's on your mind.
Okay, remember I spoke to you before about the case of Madeleine McCann.
Yep.
Right, now, if Brandon could look up, and I want you three guys I'm not going to say anything. I just want Brandon to pull this picture up, and I want you three to tell me what it looks like. If you type in Madeleine McCann, EFIT.
What was that last word?
Madeleine McCann, EFIT of men, Smith family, and just see what picture comes up of two men.
Okay.
And give me your opinion on who it looks like.
This is suspenseful.
Okay,
Joe,
hang
Catherine's
on.
called
I
them a
had
bunch
this. I had
from
this issue
Scotland.
last time
Great.
where I didn't
Oh,
spell
yeah.
her name right and it wasn't giving me everything. There's two
Ma-
C's in
Madeleine
McCann.
is- yeah. And it's MCCANN.
Yep.
McCann.
All right. So you said Madeleine McCann, and then what was the word after that? I keep losing you.
E-FIT.
E-fit.
EFIT of men. The Smith family from Ireland saw. Have you just typed that in?
Okay, and this is supposed to show me. This is a picture of two guys illustrated.
A picture of two people, two EFITs. It's like say if somebody says, right, if the police come and take a report and they say, what did it look like? And then this kind of fit sort of faces together. And then this face comes up and then they go and print out and say, have you seen this guy?
Yeah. So I see. Hang on, I'm trying to find a decent one because these are like videos, but they're not showing the faces.
Oh,
And while we wait, I'll just say the chat is already debating once again whether Catherine's accent is real, and they're also debating if Scotland is real.
I have been
we
to
know she's
Scotland,
real.
and I can tell you she is authentic. She is definitely authentic. They have a very thick accent up there in Scotland.
But then other people are
so
saying,
I'm trying to be as clear as I can. If I actually spoke the way I do now, the way I normally do, I think everybody would just be like that. What the hell? And yet Scotland does exist, even although our national animal is a unicorn.
Yeah, I played King Tut's before out there. That place is really cool.
Yeah, I know Scotland's real. I've been to Glasgow, and beautiful city. By the way.
Glasgow's awesome.
But Ireland, I don't think Ireland is real. I've been to Dublin, and I think that I'm pretty sure they took me somewhere in the Middle East.
really?
And they just kept saying it was Ireland. It was like a place in the Middle East where they did the buildings. They had like Guinness and everything, just like it was Ireland.
Right.
There was like a few Irish people
Right.
there. Pretty sure they took me to a Middle Eastern country.
That's hilarious.
There was this African dictator who called himself the King of Scotland.
That's right. That's right.
That's nuts.
I,
So who do those two men look like?
who do they look like? Mark Cuban?
I'll just say the last name, Podesta Brothers.
Oh.
Is that okay?
Oh, you're right.
Oh wait, okay. I see.
Because when-
Kidnap suspects.
Well, have you guessed? Joe, have you ever heard of that case?
No, Matty McCon, no. Although I got to say
Yes.
that guy in the middle, that AI generated guy or whatever, he's the spitting image of John Podesta. For
Yeah.
sure.
Uh-huh.
And see the guy. See. Remember the photograph you brought up. Remember the red shoes.
Yep.
Guy the picture of the guy on the far left with the more square jaw. He was standing next to Maddie McCann's dad.
Oh, wow. That's right.
That was the Red Shoe
That's right.
cult
Yeah.
or gang or whatever the hell they were.
And for those who don't know, the
And-
Podestas had some really bizarre, satanic-looking artwork in their house.
Yeah, it was the brother, John.
Tony
Podesta, yeah.
Yeah, like disgusting stuff. Like
Yeah.
kids getting, abused.
Yeah, and so first off, having it there, completely. But how many people came through the house and were like,
A lot.
yeah, nice, Tony.
Yeah, great.
Cool,
like,
Tony.
Tucker Carlson tells a story about being in the house and seeing it and being like, huh. Like he just recently said that story. It's very disturbing to have that out. and about.
It's that bad that his artwork has to be blurred out on the internet or like YouTube or if you go and do those deep dives and they tell you all about the background story of the two guys. But and like I said, just up the coast, because this all happened in Portugal, and just up the coast a little bit from the holiday resort where the little girl went missing. The famous psychiatrist's grandson, Freud, he stayed there. And then they all went up to his house for some reason.
Wow.
And he's got some shady background stuff as well.
Not surprised. Yeah, I didn't expect that one. That's a crazy twist.
Anyway,
Insane.
I'll get going because I know you don't have much time and other people might want to be phoning in.
Well, Catherine, it's always a pleasure to hear from you. Thank you for calling in and sharing that. This is a rabbit hole I have not gone down all the way yet.
Oh, it's definitely something we'll have to look into.
Definitely
here.
something because the Podestas they freak me out. It's the whole thing is bizarre.
I think the freak. I think Clinton's kind of satellite kind of freaks everybody out.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
All these lizard people.
Well, thanks, guys, and have a great night.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Same
yeah,
to
you
you.
as well.
Good hearing from you. Crazy.
Bye.
Bye.
Tony or John Podesta. I don't know that much about him politically, but he was a big pusher of the UFO thing.
No.
No? Okay.
No.
Have you seen the movie The Phenomenon? It was out on, I think, Netflix, and I saw it.
Not the John Travolta one,
No, it's called
because that was just Phenomenon.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It was the Phenomenon or the Phenomena, but I think it's the Phenomenon. It one way or the other. It's basically a documentary. It has Jacques Vallée in it. It has Christopher Mellon, DOD
Yep.
intelligence guy. It has John Podesta. It has a lot of these types, right? And maybe Lou Elizonde is in there. I don't remember. But one way or the other, the whole message of it was that aliens are basically real. Right? They don't give it 100%. All evidence points to aliens are real. They're visiting the planet. They are occasionally approaching children in playgrounds in South Africa. It was one of the big stories. What?
Oh, I've heard that story. Yeah, that's crazy.
But then the narrative is that they're good and they're your pals. So it's if if an alien lands in your schoolyard, you tell the kids to get in. No,
way.
you run.
Yeah.
But
Shoot.
and the ultimate message was that if humanity simply makes the proper choices to not be racist, sexist, homophobic, and stop polluting and causing climate change, then the aliens will give us magic technology and I guess take us to the stars. Something to that effect, right? And the whole thing is being pushed by John Podesta. And I just find that really interesting because the whole notion that there are aliens is pretty wild. I'm agnostic, but I lean towards 51% they're visiting us.
What do you think they are?
99% that they're out there. 51% that they're visiting. I don't know. I think the most likely explanation is that they are intergalactic sex tourists. This is something I've tried to. I've been invited onto like UFO shows and things like that, and they don't really care for the theory. But I think that all the evidence really points to it. They're intergalactic sex tourists.
That's why we have all this probing.
Yeah, why else are they doing that? Because if you have, my argument has always been this. If you go to a proctologist or any doctor, but you definitely go to a proctologist, he's going to do some kind of probe.
Yeah.
Okay, they're going to do everything possible to like use the smallest possible tube and do like the least possible intrusion and damage and trauma, right? Yeah. But these stories like Whitley Strieber in Communion,
that's
I mean,
crazy.
bro,
Yeah.
like, come on, they meant to do that.
Yeah.
They did it on purpose.
Because they fetishize it.
Yeah, because they're perverts.
Yeah,
Interstellar
that's why the
perverts.
Greys went to Eisenhower for a pact, for a treaty, so they could just keep
Bro.
sexing on the humans. Yep.
Yep. And also, I bet they have like strict drinking laws in their galaxy. So that's why they're always zigzagging across the sky. Because why else? The shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. The only explanation for that zigzagging is they're shit hammered. And they're coming down here to party at our expense. And then, the whole abduction thing, and we were talking about this earlier, but I think that, I know you don't think the moon exists, and maybe not. Maybe but one thing does exist, I think, on the other side of the moon, and that is the intergalactic brothel.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Where humans who are abducted are taken to the brothel and to service the alien clientele.
That's why they never show us the dark side.
That's right.
It's so much shame.
It's called hominid fever, and it's for those like miscegenating, human fetishizing aliens.
So what happens when they colonize whatever the moon is, and they start to move in and gentrify even the dark side? Do you think they're going to push out that culture?
It'll be like Pakistanis going to Britain, dude. It'll be like Rotherham, only like way worse.
Way worse.
Crash Override says, "Party at our expense?" ? That's the Hunter Biden treatment.
Yeah, he might be one, honestly. Epstein might be one too when you put it like that.
Yeah, I think all this, we're making all this war on each other. We need to start bombing the flying saucers.
I'm into that. Yeah, but it's Lockheed Martin, in my opinion. I do think there's other stuff going on, but I think a lot of the stuff people see is Lockheed Martin and Raytheon. And, like stuff we've been building.
Like the Jersey stuff?
Yeah, like the Jersey stuff.
Yeah.
Definitely. I don't think that was something else. I think that was, like they're trying to say it was an alien invasion. I think that was Palantir type of drones.
Pretty weak alien stuff. I mean, you would think that they would have invisibility down at this point.
Yeah. No, they wanted us to see them. They wanted us to freak out. It was a national story for weeks. People were seeing them all over the country, not just Jersey. And then they just disappeared. Yeah. The story went away when we had like Luigi Mangione happened, and Tesla's Cybertrucks were blowing up on January 1st. And we had a terror attack in New Orleans. It was just like, that was a crazy time. It was chaos. And the drones just disappeared. But I think that was just part of a narrative, I think. Do we have another caller?
Yeah, let's get back on the phones.
Let's do it.
We are going to go to Candy RK. Candy, you're on the show. Welcome.
What's up? What's up, guys?
What's up? How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, thank you. Glad you're here. The floor is yours. What's up?
I was kind of laughing at what Joe said about the 51%. Because of Area 51.
Oh,
say yes.
I didn't even correlate.
That came up from the collective unconscious.
Well, I always make everything about Area 51 because I'm so close to it.
Oh,
how
nice.
close? Like you're there?
I'm in Vegas.
Not that far, but far enough away that she's probably at a minimal safe distance.
Are the fires all gone now?
I haven't looked in a while, but
because Joe, there were 40,000
acres of
of
smoke
fires
going,
there.
so there's that.
Crazy. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
How's Vegas otherwise?
Hot.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Sure.
Are the tires melting yet?
I've lived here my entire life and I've never seen that happen. So
That's crazy. My buddy used to send me skate videos where he would literally he could touch the ground and it would burn his flesh.
That's crazy.
yeah, you could do that with your hand, but not a tire.
Yeah.
Have you been to the Sphere yet?
I have.
Did you talk to the robots?
I refuse to.
That's pretty wild, though, right? Like the kind of religious element and You know, it's like the metaverse, digital immortality. One of them was like artificial intelligence will be the dominant
So
intelligence.
I know about the sphere. I've seen it in person. I haven't gone in. There's robots.
Yeah, well, at least when I went to see Postcard at the what was it? Postcard at the End of the Earth, a Postcard from Earth, and
Postcard from Earth, but it should be the end of the Earth.
Postcard alone, yeah.
yeah, the whole premise. You remember you went and saw it, Candy?
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole premise, like that we're gonna depopulate the Earth and then come back for vacation.
Yeah.
Like to go rock
I'm
climb and
it's
scuba
so
diving.
cool. We're all finding out about all these animals and all this stuff that's going on. They're like, the humans are destroying the Earth. I'm like, come on.
Oh my goodness.
No, I actually agree with the premise, but I just think that Aronofsky should be the first to go. You know.
Oh, it's an Aronofsky production.
Yeah, and actually, I'm a huge fan of Aronofsky, except for Postcard from Earth.
Yeah.
Mother was a little traumatizing.
It was traumatizing. Well, Vegas. I've been hearing Vegas has less people visiting than ever. Are you feeling it out there?
Just the Strip.
Just the Strip. Is it dying? They're making it sound apocalyptic.
No, it's not. Mostly, if people are coming out from other places or like other countries, even they're going to local spots. So like the local casinos rather than the Strip casinos.
Interesting. Holistic
I
gambling.
wonder if it's got anything to do with that that tariff that they're putting in.
See, everyone says that, but we've been going steadily strong for the last 10 years and like raising prices. So we
Yeah.
never used to have to pay for parking.
No, and I
That's
think
a
it'll
thing
continue
now.
too. Honestly, Tim doesn't think so. Tim thinks it's going to crash everything when they start this next year. But I don't see how a place like Vegas is going to let that affect what they're already doing there / trying to do.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard because you think about Vegas was one of the like spots to go, but now you can, if you live in 44 states, you can go to a casino within 5 hours. So
It'll be interesting to see what happens, but I think Vegas will bend the knee for sure.
We got
either
anything,
that or they'll figure another way out.
yeah. Anything crazy you seeing out there, other than just the general
Just the usual
debauchery?
Vegas stuff.
No more face eating.
That hasn't happened in a while.
Okay, that's good.
What was the face? Is this like a bath salts sort of thing?
Oh, what
That's
were they on?
kind of a similar situation, but I don't think it was bath salts. I think this was just like a straight up like face eater. But
plain old
there's always
hunger.
got to be a drug involved, right? When it
just-
comes to face eating.
It's just hunger.
Usually.
You know, my mother worked at for a public defender when I was a kid, and she would tell me all these stories. She was the office manager, so she was dealing with a lot of the evidence. And one of the crazier ones, there was a guy. This is in Hamlin County, Tennessee, right? Redneck sticks sort of thing. Anyway, he did a bunch of PCP, and he literally cut big chunks of his face off and fed it to his dog. Whoa! And you know, the photographs were there to prove it.
Oh my goodness. That's terrible.
It is terrible, but on the other hand, you got to think about the bonding experience he would have had with
With
the
your dog?
You know,
Yeah.
I bet that dog loved him more
Yeah.
than any pet could ever love an owner. Think about what he did just for him.
For his dog. Yeah.
And the dog had probably been sitting there looking at his face for years. It's like,
Well, they say
I
there's a
want to eat
correlation
that.
behind why dogs do that too, because there's people that have died in their homes and like their cats start eating them after a certain amount of time, or their dog eats, you know, part of their face. If I actually knew somebody that happened to, and they say that I don't know how the hell it was directly phrased, but it was in some way it was either out of loyalty or respect is the reason why they were doing it in the first place, not just out of like, oh hey, he's been dead for 3 days, I'm gonna eat him. No, you know, why the fuck am I gonna let him go to waste? But I don't think it's like that. I think it actually there's some kind of a correlation there between the pet and the owner, that it's like, okay, it's been 3 days, I have to start eating him now out of respect. Like, which is just crazy to think about. But
Wow. Not me. No
you
one's-
wouldn't want to have your face eaten off by a dog 3 days post-mortem?
Nah. No.
Would you eat someone's face out of respect?
No. Once a cannibal, always a cannibal. Can't do that. Can't open up that
You
can
got
of
no
worms.
respect.
Once you get that
Kicking him off the
first
can of
taste of
worms.
sweet human
Yeah.
meat, there's no going back.
Candy, what about you? What are you thinking about all this?
That's all like crazy.
Did you have a story you wanted to share with us?
I was laughing earlier when you were talking about, do you have a Roomba?
Oh yeah.
That's the only robot I have. Everything else, I'm like, nope, not allowed in my house. Don't
So
even
you
think about
you
it.
draw the line at everything after the Roomba.
Well, I have a 75-pound hip mix who is very hairy, so that helps a lot, you know?
Okay. Yeah. Fair.
Oh,
Fair.
if you got firearms, keep them locked up, because one of these days that Roomba's gonna fucking pull one on you. I promise.
See.
I
That's
would
right.
love for it to try to reach for it.
Wish a motherfucker would.
There goes the Roomba. Yeah, I don't trust it. I don't want to bring any of that stuff. I do have a dishwasher, like Joe, and I do have my phone.
No, I don't have a dishwasher.
Oh, you don't have a dishwasher?
No.
What did you say you had? I
No
thought you said you
dishwasher.
had something.
And by the way, I also don't have power windows on my vehicle.
Really?
Yeah.
You do have a cell phone.
Yeah, I've got a flip phone and I've got a smartphone, but the smartphone has become basically, as they say, my tertiary self.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Yeah.
I'll throw it away the minute I can, but
Are we gonna be Amish? Is that like?
That would be awesome.
I think
that
a lot
sound
of people
good?
will go more Amish. I like to think of it like, you know, the angel and the demon on the shoulder,
Mm-hmm.
and on one side of on one shoulder you basically have like a smelly Amishman,
Mm-hmm.
and on the other one you have like a pristine, scentless cyborg, and you basically, you know, everyone is going to land somewhere in between. Most people aren't going to become full on smelly Amishman.
Yeah.
Most people are not going to become full on pristine cyborg. You're just going to be somewhere in between.
Yeah.
So I think a
Ryan-
lot of people tilt in that way.
Sounds
Ryan
about right.
Creso says Roomba got sued for imaging people and uploading data.
No.
They were doing. I mean, the Roombas had cameras
come
on them,
on.
and like all of these things. Though, I mean, you're basically at this point, your dishwasher.
I want to do a quick
listening
fact
to
check
you.
on this because I'm
Yeah.
honestly interested in seeing if this is true.
I know it's like the refrigerators have Wi-Fi now. Everything is just smart now in the kitchen. I don't like it. I don't like it. Yeah, last time I was in Vegas, it was probably 2 years ago, and it's so high tech, everything,
Everywhere.
and I think I was getting like migraines from 5G or something. Like it was in my molars. It hurt.
That was probably a hangover.
No, I didn't even drink out there.
Oh.
I was afraid to. I didn't want to get abducted by some crazy face eater. It happened right as I was there. I didn't see the face eating, but I'd just driven past the 7-Eleven.
or all the lights that are everywhere, you know.
And it's the lights, and it's just the whole culture there it's wild. I like it though because I love people. I love people watching. It's like one of the best places to people watch.
Plenty of that.
It's wild.
Candy, do you ever go to Frank's Tiki Bar, or Frank's Tiki Lounge?
I don't live too far from it.
Nice.
Do you like it? Is it
Yeah, I haven't been in a while because they're really busy all the time. But there's
Yeah.
another one that opened up in Chinatown. Very
Okay.
similar.
Sick.
Yeah, I love that place. So most of the time I've been to Vegas has been working. I worked for the UFC forever, so
Oh
Yeah.
really?
I was at like either T-Mobile or over at Hard Rock. There's one smaller venue over there though that I'm thinking of. It's the Sands. Does that sound familiar?
So yeah, the Sands Convention Center.
No, it's like a theater. Anyway, it doesn't.
Oh,
I can't believe
maybe
it.
at the Venetian.
No, I can't remember.
Was it on Strip or no?
Near the Strip, yeah. It wasn't very far. It's kind of just down the road from T-Mobile. It's terrible when you can't remember something that should be quite obvious, but
It's all a distortion from the 5G.
probably.
Eating
A
up-
theater?
eating
Was
up
it
on
was it an
memories.
arena or a theater?
It's like a small theater, but they would do the fights in there, you know. So it's big enough to where that you could put the octagon on the floor.
Was it
to your-
MGM?
No, but we did MGM a lot. We
Yeah.
also did Mandalay Bay a lot.
Yeah.
Am I crazy for thinking that, like, despite my hatred of a lot of the crazy technology, that I do want to experience some kind of cool show inside the Sphere? Like, it seems like
It's
an
worth
insane
going.
experience. You know, I saw some band that was about to go there. Maybe it was Metallica or something. I was like, that sounds interesting.
It was like fuck U2 or something did some wild ass
they did
shit.
a whole
U2.
residency, yeah. But I
Insane.
think
They did.
I think Metallica signed up for something, or they're talking about it
That'd
soon.
be cool.
I'd see
think
that.
they are going to have a residency.
That would be sick.
Tool.
Yeah.
Tool would be
it's
sick.
It's not as impressive once you get in because it looks like it's a lot bigger from the outside, but obviously they have to put everything else around it somewhere.
Yeah.
But it's still really cool. It's very immersive.
Let's just do a straight week of Limp Bizkit in Vegas. at the
Oh,
Sphere.
wow.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
I'm there.
So,
I'm there.
fact check came back. It's true.
Oh, my
Roomba
goodness.
robots started leaking pictures in 2020. Now, according to a statement from iRobot, the photos in question were not taken by commercially available Roombas. However, instead, they were taken from special development robots with hardware and software modifications that are not and never were present on iRobot consumer products for purchase. However, it seems that not only one of the testers, but also possibly a minor were filmed on the toilet. And
Oh my
these
God.
photos were released to Facebook somehow by these developmental stage Roombas that weren't commercially available.
You have a terrorist in your house, and you have to blow it up. Get it out of your house right now.
Well, I bought it in 2019, so there's that.
Okay.
And
Yep. Was it the top of the
it's
line
only
model?
allowed in like the, huh?
I said, was it the top of the line model at the time? Did you go all out on the Roomba
No,
expense?
my husband would let me get the best one, so I got the
Oh
second best.
shit! Check that thing the second you get off the phone with us.
Yeah.
Well, it's not allowed past my hallway, so it doesn't go to the bathroom or the rooms. It's
Bad
only allowed
Roomba.
in the, where the
Bad
dog
Roomba.
is.
Stay.
Eventually, they're going to find a way to like upload some nefarious AI into it to really turn it into a bad spy. You know?
I think so. I mean, I think probably.
Got her a
Does it
knife
ever
on it.
talk to you?
Does it talk to you?
I mean, that's why I got
Yeah,
rid of
it goes-
mine.
It goes beep, I'm stuck.
Yeah.
Again, these are the kind of things that have been in homes for years now.
Yeah.
To the point to where no one thinks about it.
Yeah.
And if there's proprietary anything put into these things that can be activated at a later time, there you go.
I mean,
Order
once one-
66.
It'll just end up in a fire pit for me.
Once you've had a
Exactly.
Roomba tell you to start eating people's faces, you really just don't look at them the same.
Was that your experience?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's time to
What's
drag the
the
And I
Roomba
robot
mean,
back.
it was actually ultimately it worked out pretty well because once it went to trial and explained that the Roomba had told me to eat the face, it went pretty easy. I mean, I'm here.
So
right? I'm
I
here.
mean, they just held the Roomba accountable. Then I take it. Is that the
yeah,
and they
Yeah.
determined that it was conscious and
yeah. I had to spend a little time at home, get my brain shocked. I haven't eaten faces since.
that's good. That's good. I don't feel any fear that you would eat any
And I
face right
wouldn't.
now. It
Yeah.
feels like that's something in your past.
Yeah.
I believe in redemption, and I don't believe in Roombas though. And I never let one in my house. So, Candy, I do hope you reconsider this robot.
And I hope
Well,
that I hope that
nothing else is. Like, Alexa's not allowed in my house. Like,
That's good.
when
That
we
is
bought
crazy.
when we
No,
bought new
she's just
electronics for the
constantly
house, I was like,
recording you
no.
in case you slip up and say something stupid that they can prosecute you for.
It's
Well,
it's crazy that people
What's my
have
phone for then?
that people
same
have
thing.
like an eavesdropping device and openly in their homes.
Multiple.
And just accept that as normal.
It makes my life easier.
Alexa is
but
not allowed in my house at
Yeah.
all.
If you think
The
about
CIA
it, you
gets it.
got like Philips Hue lights that are all running on your Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
These are electronics that are connected to the internet.
this is
So
why.
unless
don't
you've
like
taken the damn
Wi-Fi
thing
lights
apart
either,
and
that's
checked it for
fascinating, but-
bugs, I mean, how are you really sure that none of this shit?
I mean, I
can do this.
make fun of Alexa, but here I am with a smartphone, and that's certainly listening to
Yeah.
everything, And there's probably some cockroaches in these walls right now, listening in.
With the swarm chip in the back,
You know?
yeah.
I have an indoor-outdoor cat, and sometimes it goes missing for a day, and I'm fairly certain it's the CIA implanting a listening device into
Pop
its ear.
Culture Crisis has bats living in their chimney.
That's right.
In the
Right here.
podcast room,
Right
right,
here.
below us.
Yep.
Yeah, they're right next to us, basically. And I'm so goddamn jealous. I want to bring them into the room, but I feel like that would be bad for.
I think that's good. It's good. I mean, bad
Humans
for,
to
bad
be
for
in here
us.
with. Yeah.
Good for them.
I don't want to deal with rabies, but I love bats.
I'm fine. Rabies, now that I know rabies is fake, so
Oh shit!
not worried
That's
about
like
it.
bugs, though, so.
Add another one to the list.
yeah, fake rabies.
Rabies, fake.
What was the beginning word that we have not said since?
Was it mom pound?
Mom pound.
And what the hell was the other one?
I don't remember the other
Is
one.
it something to do with robots?
Or last night it was like probot.
Cogsuckers
Oh, cogsuckers.
No, but that's pretty funny. We could use that one because that's been said a couple times now.
or gabies.
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 It is gabies. You're right.
Gabies is Sam Altman is making gabies.
So is Peter Thiel.
Is he?
Yeah, they've purchased a few.
Oh no! This is different. It's a company called
What?
Conception, and I was talking about this the other day. It's a very very weird. So Conception, the way it works, and
Like
they've
the
done
birds
proof
and the
of-
bees?
A Japanese laboratory did a proof of concept experiment in Japan, and with rats, and it worked, or mice. So what you do, the goal is you take blood cells from, you got a gay couple, right? Two men. You take sperm from one and blood cells from the other. And then you revert the human blood cell into a pluripotent stem cell, right? And then a stem cell can be kind of coaxed to become any other cell.
Okay.
And they develop that stem cell into an ovum. And then they use the other dude's sperm and inseminate the man ovum, and then they create gabies.
No.
Now I'm not saying that they're doing this.
Right.
They're working on this.
But that falls in line with why they would want pregnant robots. And,
yeah,
you
and
know,
one presumes that will go hand in hand, right? You'll have
100%.
pregnancy humanoids and
So-
gabies, and
isn't that kind of a clone?
No, because it's blending.
I guess 'cause it's blending the
Now,
sperm,
they've
right.
and again they've done this with mice, and by the way, the outcome was not too promising.
Like had like 2 heads.
They just mostly died. You know, they didn't really go very
Right.
long. But they're confident they can do it. They blended 3 different human
Yeah, I saw that.
genetic components. I mean, one was just mitochondria. Does that count?
I mean,
is that
weird.
discriminatory against mitochondria to say to even ask the
Yeah, it
question?
is. You're a bigot for saying that about mitochondria. No, it's weird. I think all that stuff's I think it's gonna be more popular in the future than because they all
pretty
say
progressive.
we want it to be the future, like that kind of stuff. Or Orchid's doing with the IVF stuff and the genetic testing, whether it's cloud seeding or Neuralink. I think they want that to be the thing in the future. But Candy's not going to do that because we're already
No.
suspicious of our Roomba.
Yeah,
Are you cool with the idea of gabies, Candy?
absolutely not. It's very strange.
That's the right attitude.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, Candy, thank you for calling in. It's been great talking to you again. Did you have anything you want to shout out before we get out of here?
Maybe not shout out, but 2 things. The Podesta thing, Chester Bennington, if we
I
have heard
know.
about that.
Yeah, that's
And Chris
crazy.
Cornell.
Yep.
Yeah, and the only other weird thing that I want to talk about, you're talking about like the gabies and like all that stuff and the roaches.
Yep.
I never got stung by a mosquito until 2016 in Las Vegas. Ever in my life. And I've never been stung anywhere else but Las Vegas
What?
since then. It's very strange.
Did you have any weird reactions?
Just whatever a normal person would go through. You know, you scratch it, it gets messed up, all that.
Interesting.
I mean, we get them out in like Chicago and shit like that, but we also have a shit ton of rivers and water nearby that they breed
Right,
in.
exactly.
So I could see that maybe being a thing, but that's
She
also
got-
random that there was one just
You got one of those Bill Gates mosquitoes
cruising around looking
Bill
for
Gates
it.
mosquito.
Exactly.
I mean, he's making new ones that don't have a proboscis.
Right.
But she got the early
The
version.
stingless.
Yeah, the stingless one.
mosquitoes.
Yeah.
Maybe it's
just to scare
probably,
you.
you know, all those aqueducts. Just standing water, probably just poorly maintained.
Mutant Vegas.
But it's all
mosquito.
underwater though, so I don't know. Or not underwater, underground. Sorry.
Right, right,
Yeah,
right, right.
Who knows?
Well, be safe out there, as always, and you know where to call us if something strange is going down in the neighborhood.
Yeah, lock that Roomba in a closet.
Blow it up. See
I'll
you.
take a picture when I do.
Awesome. Have a good
Fantastic.
night, Candy.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
See ya.
Bye.
By now.
Oh my goodness, isn't that crazy? I don't want any robot ever. Like, what if you have kids in the future and they bring home a robot that
No.
they fell in love with?
No, it would be like if they brought a black kid home. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Jesus.
But I would definitely have a clankers and back sign.
You got to put it in the yard. I would probably have like cyborg heads decapitated in the yard, you know, just so they understand the horror.
I don't know. You know, it depends on how advanced the robot was. Like if it was this little guy, I don't know. He's okay.
Is he?
But I wouldn't let him bring a smartphone home or anything like that.
You're not even doing that?
No.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, our kids aren't having phones till much later. You don't have anything now. They can have some stuff every now and then that we give them and they're allowed to see it under our supervision. But that's just a portal to hell.
Based.
Yeah, you have to be. I mean, if they want to capture your children,
and
they will find any way to do that. Whether it's like the stuff you're talking about with the meta chat bots that are
The
I think,
groom
everywhere.
bots.
The groom bots is disgusting, or you know, who knows? There's bad guys out there trying to get to your kids through Roblox.
I heard about this.
That just blew up again this week because I think they banned pedophile catchers.
What?
Was that what it was on Roblox?
I just saw like a kind of a headline and brief description.
But it's a thing, you know.
I mean, the same thing was happening with the metaverse, I guess, when they first were pushing that. Boy, that shit just disappeared fast. But
Yeah,
anyway.
it doesn't really disappear. Oh, the thing about Chester Bennington is the theory is that John Podesta's his dad,
Who's Chester Bennington again?
the singer of Linkin Park.
Ex singer.
Oh, what? Linkin,
about-
you mean
what
one
about
of the
Chris-
greatest? That's our Led Zeppelin.
Dude, Linkin Park is like Limp Bizkit tier.
What?
Yeah, well, you
He's
see
out of
that?
it.
Could
He's
you
out
see
of
him
this.
shoot the
Sorry,
look out of
He's
the
out
corner
of
of his
this.
eye?
Hang on a
here.
second. I feel like I'm in the wrong room. To
Fred
be talking
Durst
like
is
that.
in the room right across. The How dare you? We are big Limp Bizkit fans in this
Massive,
studio.
huge.
Yeah, they're our Beatles.
Then Why is your hat on forward?
Because it's not a St. Louis hat.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay.
I don't need to hide my shame by flipping it backwards, even if the socks suck.
All right. Well, since we have 2 minutes left, what was one of your favorite tours to be with on a band and to see?
Well, UFC was the only one that I would watch every night.
Yeah.
It was a different fight every night and everything.
It's
You get
exciting.
tired of all of them. But, I got fired from, I didn't get fired. I left the Black Eyed Peas with a little bit of a bang. And then I left Rascal
like a
Flatts
story. Whoa.
with even better bang, bigger and better bang. I really enjoyed Game of Thrones. It was in Europe. We went all over Europe, and it was like a 3.5 hour show, and I never watched Game of Thrones. And they basically put these like clips. So they played little clips of the whole show from the beginning to the end.
Okay.
And I never really sat and watched the whole thing. Like every now and then I'd come in. And so it was like over the course of the whole tour, I got the gist of Game of Thrones.
That's funny.
And we flew my job was to harness up and fly the violinist, Molly, who was super cool. She was like one of the sweetest,
That's awesome.
sweetest young women I've ever met.
Oh, awesome. I like Game of Thrones for a little
And
bit.
by that, I believe that he means suspending that poor woman in midair and making
Yeah.
her move from different positions.
Yeah,
Well,
not with a
on
noose.
this,
Not
on
with a
this one,
noose,
it was
right?
straight up and down, but she was terrified. She went up 35 feet in some of these venues, right?
Yeah.
Like, she was up there. So she was absolutely terrified. She's playing this violin solo, and part of being a violinist is having your feet
Yeah,
stabilized.
they have a whole
So-
kind of motion. I used to have a violinist in one of my bands,
Oh, wow.
and they have this whole kind of like a lot of that like waving and moving that they're doing, and you just think like, what the fuck are you acting for? And it's really not. That's actually like there's like a body language to
Right.
playing some of these instruments.
So
It's
not
very
only do you have to
interesting.
be a good violinist, you have to actually do it while in the air.
She was gutsy, and just being so afraid in the
Yeah.
beginning too, and still being
Yeah.
able to perform just flawlessly.
That's awesome.
Every night, and she was super sweet too. A lot of performers are not as sweet as she is.
That was like Yellow Card's guy used to do like backflips off the amps and shit while he was playing, and it was just nuts
Yeah.
to watch live.
Yeah.
Remember Eddie Vedder?
I was
climbing
just
up?
thinking as he said it. Yep, that's a great. I'm not a huge Pearl Jam fan.
Me neither.
But that video is incredible.
Yes.
It's a great video. You should definitely look that one up later.
He comes down on the microphone cable.
Gangster.
Dude,
It's great.
for real.
It's great. It makes me want to like them, but I just can never
No,
make
sir,
that.
man.
I can't do it.
Hey, the cold, I'm a shit that I don't want to see, and I fall down again.
But I will say it's 12 o'clock. I'm not getting paid to say this, but I was looking forward to this, and the new Deftones album is out. So
Deftones, of that whole Linkin Park, Limp Bizkit sort of sound.
Yep.
Deftones, and I kind of
Well, it
for
should
some
be
reason
out.
put them in that class.
I love the
They were
Deftones.
awesome.
Oh, man.
Very artful.
yeah, so good, and I think they've just gotten better. Like
I didn't really keep on, but
they put out. I mean, there's some albums I just don't back to as much, but there's really good albums, good songs. I've always liked them. I wish I saw them live. I'd like to do that. But that is our time. Thank you for joining us.
thank you very much, sir. Should we leave everybody with the Pearl Jam song? Should we sing like?
Hell no.
I think that would be terrible. But
No, we're gonna do a Linkin Park and Limp Bizkit rendition.
Oh,
for
let's
the
hear
show.
it. Let's hear it.
yeah, we're gonna do break stuff and destroy the studio. It was like when Mancow went off air and he just played that one song by Metallica that was like "So What," and he like locked the doors and left it playing on
that's
air for like, and they
hilarious.
were trying to break in the background because he left it uncensored.
That's great.
That was pretty amazing.
That's great.
So thank you to our guest for hanging out, Joe Allen. Did you have anything you want to shout out, promote, anything like that, where we can find you?
Shout out to Grace Chong. I know she's watching.
One of the
Surely she
best.
stayed up,
One of my
right?
favorite people
Absolutely.
on Twitter.
And
Yeah.
I can't believe you didn't call in.
And
maybe
today
she's
she
on
posted
right
a video of robots falling, and she said we're obligated to not pick them up.
now. Wow. Yeah.
Amazing, because the video was of people picking up the robots falling.
Solid. She's a clinker
Don't do
hater.
it. I love it.
She's a clinker hater. And then website joebot.xyz. Singularity Weekly, or as my haters have pointed out, Singularity not so weekly as of late. But
been busy.
it'll be back, and I've got plenty of stories to tell.
And
so.
find you on the War Room.
In the War Room,
Like, and
yes.
what's your handle on Twitter?
At JOEBOTXYZ, and a couple of I've been hosting here lately, an experimental phase.
Yeah,
The
you're doing great.
Petri dish. I appreciate it. I know you're just being nice, but
I'm not.
appreciate
I sat down and watched. If it's still your pinned tweet, the one where you break down the 4 parts of like the future of AI and how it's a tool and they're building to it a god. It's great. I mean, you should do it more often. Steve, get Joe on the show all the time because it's good because there's not so many people covering it like that, you know. And you're not an alarmist so much as I am. I might be more of a dystopian alarmist when it comes to it, but you bring a grounded, also doomy language to it.
I'm a gloomer,
Gloomer,
not a doomer.
yeah.
When I met that cat Yosha Bach, he said something that really struck me. He is basically a mostly doomer, but he doesn't care so much. It's like,
Right.
you know, whatever. I want to see the machines flourish. And I'm like, it doesn't bug you at all? Like, this doesn't bother you at all? And he looked at me very seriously, and he's like, I mourned humanity in my teenage years. And I was like, damn.
Well, on that note, I hope you guys have a great weekend. Brandon, tell them where they can find you.
As always, you guys can find me at Brando Inverted on Insta and on Twix. Thank you guys for hanging out. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, follow the show, smash that like button on your way out of here. We will see you guys next week. And until then, stay weird. Shane, get us out of here.
Apologies again for not getting to all the callers that we probably would have gotten to if I were better with time. But I had a great time talking with Joe and Brandon about all this good stuff. It was great having Joe in the room. Always fun having you on the show. We will be on the Culture War tomorrow morning discussing AI. So that should be fun. Tune into that tomorrow at 11 a.m. And I hope you guys have a great weekend. We'll see you then. Later.